Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your SportsCenter update. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers have now won 5 of their last 6 after finishing the season sweep of Damian Lillard and the Bucks. The homestand continues tomorrow night, hosting Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Jeremy Grant, a game-time decision after leaving last night with an ankle injury. Matisse Thybulle, also a game-time decision. The Blazers are 18-29, the 7th worst record in the league. ESPN Shams Charania reporting Hawks forward Jalen Johnson will have season-ending surgery for a shoulder injury suffered last Thursday against the Raptors. He's in his 4th season, averaging career highs of 18.9 points, 10 rebounds, which leads the team, and 5 assists. Lakers big Anthony Davis will miss at least a week after suffering an abdominal strain in the first quarter of last night's loss to the 76ers. And in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy shifting his focus to the 2026 hiring cycle. He was in the running for the Saints job, but Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore now believed to be the lead candidate. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Slam Dunk in Vegas is our nationwide contest for a chance to have the ultimate tournament viewing experience with 3 of your friends. More info at 1080thefan.com. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
All throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Danny and Dusty with you. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah?
Doing good.
Everybody have a good day?
Good day.
Good day?
Good day.
Great day.
Great day.
Let's go. Rust, how are you? Oh, boy.
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk? You don't want to talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it.
What's going on?
Why do they keep winning? Why can't they be good at being bad?
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't have to talk about that now. We will talk about that.
There's a lot to talk about from last night.
What in the world is this?
Yeah, the Portland Trailblazers
Indeed.
winning basketball games.
We don't have to talk about the game.
We're almost at the over-under, and we're not at the All-Star break yet.
Yeah.
I will also highlight they've been the worst, second worst, and worst team post-All-Star break in the last 3 years.
Well, there's going to be some stiff competition this year.
Well, 2 teams, yes. For sure.
I don't know, man.
I actually found a little wrinkle in here that might make you feel a little better, Rust.
Okay. You know what? Optimism.
Little silver lining on the horizon for you.
Yeah.
It is it's not a rising tide that lifts all boats. It is the torrential flood that could sink the boat.
Oh, grand.
No, in a good way.
In a good way?
Because tanking,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that they're closer
understand,
to the 8th and 9th worst teams in the league than they are to the 6th and 5th.
We'll get to all of this.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We'll get to all of this. Don't
worry
worry about
I've got
this.
a little something for you.
I hope, but look, you're going to have to inspire us because right now, it's just not feeling like it.
Right now, Tumani Kamara is leading us to too many wins.
I've got some inspiration for you.
Yeah. Denny going to win too many games.
I've got some inspiration for you.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, hey, how about that? Inspiration. We need to be inspired on this Wednesday. Kevin, the Orange O guy, he keeps reminding us it is, in fact, Royal Rumble week. It's Royal Rumble week in the WWE. I remember the Royal Rumble was the coolest thing ever.
I remember going over to a friend's house for a couple of years in a row because his parents were the cool parents that bought the pay-per-views.
Yeah. I feel like what we have now is it's Jake Paul. Like that's what people are buying now.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, like big pay-per-view events would be Blazer Vision.
There you go.
All right, locally. And that was.
But also boxing matches.
Yeah, but it was Tyson fights. WWF.
When we got older, the prime UFC window, the Liddell fights,
Well, I remember, dude, the coolest UFC was 64-man bracket, no weight classes.
Yeah, I mean that's
like
early
that was
UFC.
Ken Shamrock and like Ken Shamrock's fighting Butterbean and
yeah.
just absolutely blasting a 400-pound dude and put him in a chokehold. It's like, what is going on here? And I remember my dad be like, yeah, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh,
That's it. That's what
Okay.
the Las Vegas was a licensing group also thought.
Yeah.
Because they were like, you
Think about
can't
that.
do this.
It
Hoist
was-
Gracie was this brilliant, Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist, whatever you want to call it, practitioner. It's like, yeah, but if Rampage Jackson hits him once,
but hey, you know what we're gonna do? You know what we're gonna do? Fight 8 times.
Yeah.
Make your way through.
and that was the
Like,
crazy thing is
what?
like on the same day.
Yeah.
Like you think about that now, these guys trained 6 months.
I guess it was only 6 fights because you fight in the round of 64,
Yeah.
32, 16, 8, 4, and then the championship. That was crazy.
But yeah, no, these guys trained 6 months for a single fight now.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Can I just say I don't like that?
You can
I-
can say whatever you want.
I know,
man.
but like,
well, I mean, almost anything.
Yeah.
Rust may have to dump part
Yeah,
of
I
it.
do have a dump
but
button.
but you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
you could say it.
the whole idea of like fighting twice a year when
Mm.
you're at the top, I'm like, come on, really?
I mean, they're honing their craft, though.
I know, but it's like, and I know that they're doing it on purpose. The scarcity is what makes the value go way up and blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah. But it's the whole idea of like, you're training for 6 months for one fight. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
Come
well, it's
on.
become a problem though with like UFC because some of their cards just aren't. They
suck.
don't have the gravity
Yeah.
that they used to have because guys are like, well, can't have him fight, can't do this here, there, and then now UFC is kind of losing a little
Mhm.
bit of its luster in that regard, because UFC would have been like the prize fights back when we were growing
Yeah.
up.
When
But-
how many of those guys you talk about, like Chuck Liddell, Ken Shamrock, Anderson Silva, Randy Couture, like I mean the number of Tito Ortiz, like you just go down the list of like guys you could easily identify as top flight UFC fighters that you would either pay for the pay-per-view or you'd go to the sports bar and pay the $10 covered like to go watch those events.
It's gone,
It's gone.
and now it's Jake Paul,
Yeah.
and then we can't have this.
No.
We can't. It's not good fights.
Well,
Don't
now
know
it's gonna
why.
be
I
Jake
don't
Paul
know why
versus
people
Logan
are-
Paul, isn't it? At least that's what they're trying to tease.
No, it's a reality show.
Oh no.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that there was like this big Jake Paul, Logan Paul thing, and then it was quickly like, oh no, this is gonna be a reality show.
Okay. See, I didn't see that part of it. I saw that
Now,
some
it
people had
might
done
be
digging
different.
into like, state boxing commissions and stuff like that and found no fight like on the schedule.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's lame. Although I guess that's par for the course for those two, isn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep. It's all getting different now. I don't know. The one thing that we do have though, Super Bowl, it's not pay-per-view. That's live, baby.
Give
That's
that
free.
Give that time.
No way, dude.
Give that time.
I think they make more money now with commercials.
They're gonna move it to a streaming service.
But you have to have commercials still, and that's where I think that you're right. They will move it to a streaming service at some point.
It will be on Amazon or YouTube in the next 10 years. I'd
Well-
bet a significant amount of money.
God.
Significant amount of money on that. It'll be one of those two.
But they're going to lose their eyeballs, and that's the most important thing because then it wouldn't be the most watched event in the world. They will lose eyeballs.
They will
doing that.
lose eyeballs, but it will also be the most watched event still because Amazon is the most ubiquitous country in the world with Google right there.
Country, company, company in the world.
Company.
Yeah,
Huh, I mean,
it's its own country now.
I mean,
They might have enough employees to.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You're
I
not
mean, they
wrong
probably
there.
have more employees than some.
Yeah, I'll tell you
small
what.
nations.
We went driving by the what is it called? Distribution center. I don't know,
The-
1,000 trucks.
The new one that they're building.
No, it's one out in
There's one out in
Hillsboro.
Hillsboro.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Dude, like 1,000 of those things.
Yeah.
That
Like-
place is huge.
They have the
was-
one they
I was
finished
like, how many
finishing in
cars are there?
Tualatin that's massive, and then they have the one that they're building. It's like what was it, 3 million square feet in Woodburn,
Yeah,
which 3 million square feet. I don't think people can truly fathom how big that is. I helped,
That's very big.
brother. I moved a one company from Mississippi to Virginia into a 300,000 square foot.
I think you
facility.
mean Virginia.
Virginia, indeed. That place was so big. I was doing like 30,000 steps a day in that place, and I was like, man, my feet are getting kind of sore. I looked at my little tracker then, and I was like, oh my god, I would end up being there for I'm gonna say like 7 weeks. They got me a golf cart.
Oh, okay.
Just because like getting
Yeah.
to a spot, like it wasn't like because I was struggling. It was I couldn't get to where I needed to get to fast
crazy.
enough. But that's 300,000 square feet.
Yeah.
You're talking about something 10 times bigger.
It's really 3 million square feet?
Yeah, I'm not. That's not over exaggeration. Like that's
Dang.
what the press release said when they were doing this, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Take that, the hoop.
Yeah.
Like when Amazon finally goes under, it'll be like, oh, it's gonna become some sort of training facility, because that's what all of them turn into, right? All the old like Kmart's and any big box store that goes under, it's like, oh, new youth sports training facility where you can pay $5,000 a month.
It's the company's largest fulfillment center. It's 5 stories tall and 105 feet high.
Yikes. That's crazy, man.
Brother, it's bonkers.
Wow.
Bonkers.
We have this on the Vancouver Forward Tech side. WWE has already moved to Netflix. They are normally 5 to 10 years ahead of any other sport when it comes to distribution models.
Oh God.
Actually, that is actually kind of true. It's like
What, did
the
they move- I think
two
they moved-
trends you look to is porn for like the method of watching
the
video,
physical medium.
whether that was VHS
Yeah.
killing beta, Blu-ray killing HD, DVD,
And now streaming. Yeah.
and then WWF, they kind of did that too. They were like network to then pay-per-views, and now over to streaming.
Yeah,
It's
I think-
actually kind of right.
Is it Monday Night Raw that's on Netflix? I
Yeah.
want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, hey, happy Royal Rumble week,
Okay.
everybody.
Just to put
Okay.
in perspective how big this is
Okay.
from the article. Picture a typical Costco store with aisles and aisles of products stacked to the ceiling as far as you can see. Now
Mhm.
arrange 4 more Costcos of the same size around it. That's not it. And now take that enormous array of 5 Costcos
Mhm.
and stack 4 more on top of it.
4 on top of it. It's a lot of Costco's.
It's like 20 Costcos.
It's a lot of Costco's.
That's a lot
wait,
of Costco's.
wait, just 4 more Costco's or 4 levels of the 5 Costco's?
4 levels.
Of the 5 Costco's.
Yes.
So you had 20 Costco's. It's big.
It's one of their biggest facilities in the world.
It's a lot of hot dogs.
That building
not.
alone is
It's
supposed
Amazon.
to
They don't sell
employ
hot dogs.
1,500 people.
Oh, it feels like there should be more, but automation.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's the most
I mean,
automated.
20 Costco's, only 1,500 people?
Yeah.
What are we doing
mean-
here?
I mean, the most.
Yeah, go.
Squirrel moment.
Go.
Speaking
way.
of Costco, I remember back in the day as a youth in the junior highs and whatnot, my parents would always come home with a box of like the bagel dogs, right? Which
Mhm.
just kind of unceremoniously disappeared. I was at the freezer section the other day at the old Safeway, and Nathan's has a frozen package of bagel dogs.
That is a squirrel moment, but
Mhm.
good to know.
Yeah.
Also,
Good
I
to
undersold
know.
this. It's 3.8 million square feet,
It's a lot.
and it's 3,500 people. The 1,500 is what they expect to open it with.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now that makes more sense.
That's 3,500 people.
Yeah.
Almost 4 million square feet. Like, I really can't comprehend how big of a building that is.
I can't either.
Because it's not like it's
You said a lot of numbers of Costco's.
It's not like
and
it's office space. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just a wide open
Yeah.
chasm.
Yeah. Dude, think about that.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Like you don't need a golf cart in there. You need a freaking supercar
Supercar.
to get from one end to the other.
That's right.
Based on science.
I think that is based on science. You know, you need a supercar, man.
It's computers.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. And to think that all started as an online bookstore.
Quite the pivot. Quite the pivot.
And like it started as an online bookstore where people were like, why is it called Amazon? Like, was this like the rainforest?
Yeah,
Not
because
the
they're cutting
rainforest.
down all them trees to make them books.
And then they were like, all right, so this guy, you could just buy books. They're like, nah, you can buy like pens. And they're like, oh, that worked. You can buy staplers. They're like, what? That worked too? All right. You can buy underwear. And then it just, the dam broke. And it was like, we're selling everything now. That's a hell of a business model right there. I mean, to think. They're like, yeah, nobody's buying these books anymore. All right. Selling everything. Now we all buy all of our stuff via Amazon. It's crazy.
Just had the cat food delivered between 4 and 8 a.m. this morning.
Did you really?
Yeah.
See? Cats need to be fed.
Ordered it last night.
Look at you.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, this isn't just a Costco or Amazon or big, huge ass building show. Although it could be. I'm open to whatever. We still haven't got to which animal leaves the room.
Oh, God.
I'm very disappointed in myself.
Yeah, because we teased that for like a couple of days.
Yeah.
We can just we can just do it.
No, we can't because we have to stay on time.
Well, no, I mean like later.
At least this first hour.
Well, yeah, we
Yeah,
should.
Yeah.
We should.
We can do it later today.
A lion,
Yeah.
a grizzly bear, a silverback gorilla,
Screw it. Let's do it hour number
and
2.
big,
Or
huge-
hour number 3.
big, huge snake.
Yeah.
Which one gets out alive?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get to
Yeah,
this.
no. Let's get to it today. I like it.
Inquiring minds
Yes.
need to know. But we have to stay on time because we have lights out.
Big time interview.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Shawne Merriman is going to be joining us at 1:00. We're going to talk Super Bowl. We're going to talk, some betting stuff. Talk about the game of foosball. Could he play now? Not like at his current age, but his style.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like.
I mean, I feel like he would be flagged for attempted murder. He was a.
Well, I mean, he's not Vontez perfect.
He was but he played with so much power.
Yeah.
Like he was just like ooh.
I wonder if he sees
Goodness.
I wonder if he sees himself in anybody today.
Yeah. He's going to join us at 1:00 today. So excited for that. But where we got to start this bad boy off? Last night, the Trailblazers showed some progress. Well, they are now closer to the playoffs than the worst record in the West, which is a little bit of an issue, seeing as they're far away from both of them. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
for this Trailblazers team. Late clock here. Kamara drives. Kamara elevates and hammers it down.
That was a call on TNT last night. Wish we would have had Calabro on that call. As Toumani Kamara absolutely slam ball through basket. That was fun to see last night. 1, 2 get up, throw ball through hoop. And just a complete game by the Portland Trailblazers.
Great job by DeAndre Ayton also to grab the living bejesus out of Giannis on that play and kind of shuffle him out of directly under Toumani Kamara so he could absolutely bang on him. So just all around great stuff. But yeah, no, the last night was great basketball. And it's been so long. It's been 84 years to actually have the juice in the crowd, the national TV game, the players getting up for it, the execution. It
felt like a perfect storm because like everybody in that building came to see Dame in his return, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why there was a little bit of buzz. That's why there was some excitement in the crowd. And when the hometown team is like, hey, we want to watch something nice, and hey, Dame's coming back, I think it was like that surprise that, oh my gosh. No, actually, the Blazers are the ones that are playing well. Right? Like the Blazers, like, hey, all right, look at this, something to cheer for. It was a fun game because it was a complete game where the part that I liked the most about it is you saw, and Chauncey Billups had a great comment to you, I believe it was, right? Where he said, it's amazing what can happen when everybody's pulling together.
Yeah.
And everybody's playing together. That was the first time in quite some time, like you really saw it come together for Portland. They've had games and like they've been playing better lately. Mm-hmm. Young pieces and development is actually working for this team. And they're playing a good brand of basketball.
Things are feeding each other in the sense of, Ant has figured some stuff out and guys are able to play off that. Tu and Denny are really sliding into their roles, and whether it's Scoot, Shea, Donovan, any of the other guys, no matter what happens with this team going forward, I am certain Tu and Denny are going to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two guys, and you saw that last night, and they both did very different things last night. In that, yeah, Denny goes for 30, but
that was a hell of a game.
I mean, he was balling out his mind. 30 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 5 turnovers, just a little loose, but you deal with that. Tu, on the other hand, 8 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. And it's very different. It's like, oh, it looks like a nice little game. It's like he was an absolute demon.
He's all over the floor. All over.
How
Both ends.
How many guys in the NBA can effectively guard Giannis and Dame in the same game?
I
5?
don't. Maybe
5.
Yeah, sounds about right. And he has that skill set to do. Not in like he's not going to take Giannis for 48 minutes.
Giannis only had a 40 piece. Like nobody stops him, but you make him work.
Yeah, he's not gonna lock up Dame for 48 minutes.
No,
but he was that guy that the Blazers had been missing really since Wesley Matthews ruptured his Achilles. Which is a guy that can defend every level of the floor, and it's like a stopgap in just the guy who just stops bleeding from happening.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, it's actually perfect you brought up Wes, because I mentioned it last night. Tu is starting to show these little things where I don't think he's going to ever be this all-star caliber player, but I think he can be a very high-end role player in the same way that Wes was. And Wes was very unique. This isn't like looking at it back at hindsight. Wes was very unique before his Achilles went. Mm-hmm. Guys come in the league, they are kind of who they are, and you can maybe add a little bit. You don't get to the point of like, oh, he's a three-point shooter. Oh, he can attack off the dribble. Oh, he's got a post-up game. Oh, he can attack closeouts. Like, oh, he developed a handle. It's like he kept every year was adding something new. I've been pushing Chauncey a little bit in post games the last couple of weeks of like, what are you trying to get out of Tu? And you're seeing it where he's working more as a screener in pick and rolls. He got a post up on Dame. And he was like, "Come here, little guy," and goes up and scores. And he's like, just finding these little ways to add additional value to what he's doing. And it's just you're seeing how valuable he can be beyond being a premier defender. His offensive value is growing other than, hey, stand in corner and shoot threes.
Whether people want to admit it or not, we have seen Chauncey Billups has been doing his job.
Yeah.
And that is to grow and develop young players. We've seen Scoot has started to come around, and last night was not necessarily the glowing picture of Scoot's development, but you know what?
Competent.
He was. And he's growing and getting better. Tumani Kamara, you can't ignore that he has gotten exponentially better. Donovan Clingan is playing and putting up numbers.
What an insane block on Brook Lopez last night.
It was an incredible block.
He ran from the top of the three-point line as Dame fired a pass down to him and just pinned him. The look on Brook's face was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like it was like, really?
We're going to do this?
Really?
Wait, this is happening to
But
us
I mean,
right now?
that's the most ground I've seen him cover and make a play.
But somebody what was the thing? Somebody floated this out about his rebound rate is like at an incredible, like all-time clip. Like Donovan Clingan in limited plays, limited minutes. I think that was his 34th game of the season last night. But he's got like a rebound rate of 18% or something that, which puts him at one of the highest like performers in, albeit very small sample size. Yeah. But you're seeing that Chauncey is getting guys to grow and develop. And look, the hard part is though, it puts the Blazers in a position where this isn't the year where you want to start racking up wins, but growth, development. We wanted to see them lose close games. They're kind of playing better than that right now. And that's tough because as it stands right now, the Blazers are 6.5 games away from the 10 seed in the West. They're 7 games away from the worst record in the Western Conference.
Which you're not catching those guys.
You're not catching either one of them.
No.
And that's the worst spot to be in because you're in no man's land. Either make the playoffs or crater this thing out because what this team has is you're seeing growth, you're seeing a little bit of development. You're not going to get a star the way it's constructed right now. And I know that is frustrating for fans, but it's also like it's such a tough conundrum to be in where what you wanted to see is actually happening in development and guys still playing really hard and putting a good product on the floor, but you're in no man's land.
I don't think they're in no man's land yet. I think you have to wait until the end of the season to know where they're at in no man's land. Because in the middle of the season, the Chicago Bulls are in no man's land. They have nothing. They have nothing going forward. They're in legitimate no man's land. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really in no man's land right now. Well, Sacramento could end up there if the Fox trade goes sideways for them.
Well, okay, are you saying like what are you saying as far as the big difference between Portland and Chicago right now?
What does Chicago have going forward?
Yeah, but I mean, what does Portland have going forward? Which is
Denny,
two and Denny
at least.
But that's not going to get you.
No.
It's not going to get you to.
No.
And that's the thing.
No. Just stop. The difference is Chicago has nothing. No draft assets, no picks, no player. There's nothing on that team. Nothing. Matas Buzelis is not something to go forward with. They are bereft of everything, and yet they've been stuck in this muck for 5-6 years, and they haven't gotten a top 3 pick or gotten a top 7 pick or anything along those lines. Whereas the Blazers have. Now, did they get the best players out of it? Probably not. Sucks.
And that's where I'm at with, like, I don't see that big of a difference there.
I see a staggering difference between those two franchises right now.
Yeah.
Staggering difference between those two franchises.
Like, because there's
close.
But and if you don't get a star though,
but this is the whole point of the tank. It doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
But
right
that
now
Washington team,
yeah.
that Washington team can sit here and they can end up winning 11 games this season, and they can still finish 5th in the lottery.
Sure, absolutely.
And
that's the thing. There's nothing guaranteed.
That's my point. It's like you've got it. Look, you do what you can. You control what you can control. And you, as much as everybody says they want to lose every game, no, you freaking don't. No, you don't. I was in a building with 20,000 people last night that had the time of their lives.
Yeah.
and they're going to remember it, and the kids are going to remember it, and all that stuff's it does matter. The functionality has to be there in some capacity.
That's right.
But are they winning too many games? Yes. Can they turn the water off and still only win 22 games this season? Yes.
Yeah.
They can.
That's going to be a really tough task, though.
It's not, though.
But
you say that, but Dusty, they've done it the last 3 years.
I know, but this year is also different in that there's going to be everybody turning those faucets off.
There's only two teams that have absolutely turned the water off.
Okay, now here's where the no man's land really kind of gets you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Blazers also they've got to make up 4 games to get to Brooklyn or Charlotte for the 4th and 5th worst records.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 teams that are going to turn the faucet off.
And do you want me to?
New Orleans appears to, after winning 4 in a row, be like, "Nah, we're good. No, we're not going to do this."
They can't though. They have too many guys.
But that's also the thing is that are they? Because if they turn the faucet off, Brandon Ingram's not going to play the rest of the year, right? That's what I'm saying is that the Blazers are going to turn guys off and say no more. You guys aren't going to play, but the other teams that they're trying to catch aren't going to do that.
No, because they have too many guys. New Orleans has too many guys. They can't. They can't shut down CJ, Brandon, Zion, DeJounte, Trey. They can't shut down 5 starters. They can't.
I hope they can't.
They can't.
I hope they can't. So there's one team that they can catch. Who else are they catching then? Between Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte, because where they're at right now is the tough spot, right? In that you don't want to be 7th. And they have the 7th worst record right now.
No, where you want to get to is 5th. That's
where it was. You got to make up 4 games on Brooklyn and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Toronto's a team that for whatever reason is signaling that they're trying to add players at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, I don't know why, but that's a spot they're going to be. The Nets are still going to find a way to win games because they play in the East. It's just that simple. And the Blazers, you know who they play down the stretch? Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Utah. They're going to have a chance to, remember when John Butler played point guard against the Spurs?
Yeah. But they're not, the other teams aren't going to do the same thing. You want to talk about your infamous drop of the great suck-off?
Mm-hmm.
Buddy. Because
no one has matched the Blazers at this. Look, you can get all mad at me and whatever. No one has matched the level the Blazers are willing to go to when push comes to shove. If you guys are going to suck hard.
There you go.
They have. Again, they have been dead last, second to last, and dead last post All-Star break the last 3 years. They've won 13 games over the last 3 years post All-Star game.
Yikes. New Orleans, by the way, has the 2nd toughest schedule remaining in the NBA with 4 of their easiest games remaining on their schedule are 3 against the Spurs and 1 against the 76ers. Those are the easiest games on their schedule. They have 1 against Utah, 1 against Charlotte, 1 against Brooklyn. They've got a layup line. Utah has the 4th toughest schedule remaining. Blazers aren't catching them anyways. Blazers have the 12th toughest schedule. Meanwhile, Toronto and Washington have the 2 easiest schedules in the NBA remaining.
Toronto's going to win games. Washington's not. Toronto's going to win games. Brooklyn's going to win games.
Brooklyn and Charlotte have the 23rd and 24th toughest schedules remaining. Yeah. I hope you're right.
Again, the goal is to hope to end up 5th in lottery odds and then pray.
Yeah.
Pray.
All right.
Because we said coming into the season, I said they're going to probably finish somewhere between 4 and 5 or 3 through 5.
Yeah. I mean,
picking up those 5 wins. Those 5 wins early in the season, the New Orleans, San Antonio, or the New Orleans Pelicans ones, it sucks because you're at worst you're thinking 2 and 3.
Yeah.
As far as good for the tank.
Yeah.
And if they're 3 back, they're literally in.
Yeah. I hope you're right. I hope they can suck as much as they have the last couple of years. But there's going to be stiff competition because how good the draft is.
Yeah. We heard this with Wemby. Yeah. And they got down there.
Yeah. You know what? It's also going to be, and this is Portland. this is not just unique to Portland, but I know this is how our fan base will operate, is that say the Blazers finish one game back of Brooklyn, and the Blazers have the 6th worst record, Brooklyn has 5th worst record, and Brooklyn wins the lottery.
Yeah, they say that one game, and yeah.
Guess what? That's the way it goes.
Guess what?
It's the lottery.
The Blazers lost to the Spurs in that game, and guess who won the lottery? That John Butler game? Spurs won the lottery.
Yeah.
So you can say the Blazers, sucking on purpose, gave the Spurs Wemby. There you go. You have another reason to hate the Blazers and their management. Because they didn't get it right there either, because they lost when they should have won.
I thought last night,
doing
though,
it in hindsight is dumb.
It really is. Last night was good. It was good basketball to watch. We got to watch the Portland Trailblazers, and everybody. And it just, what bothers me so much is the same people that criticize Chauncey Billups for not being a good coach, then criticize him because he was too good of a coach, and they beat the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes.
You know, right?
Yes.
Like, he's one of those people.
I don't
owning it.
I don't get it. Why?
Look, and I know Danny has said this lots of times on this show, coaches and players don't tank,
Mhm.
organizations do.
Yeah.
And at some point, the organization needs to send down the edict. Look, we know you understand the assignment here, okay? So it's time to sit some dudes down. And I don't understand why we have to wait until the magical trade deadline to see what happens first before that happens, and how many more games we have to win against, you know, good to mediocre teams.
Well,
but like I said, you know, last segment, it's we're not even at the All-Star break, and they're already almost at their season over under.
Yeah. Well, I will also throw at you though, you know, DeAndre Ayton has only played in 33 games. Jeremy Grant came and left that game last night. It's like sometimes they're doing this and they're still finding ways to win the games too, right? I mean, if we had seen,
maybe Chauncey needs to come up with some back spasms.
If we had seen this team come out and, you know, if at this point in the year, Ant, DeAndre, JG were all playing 45 of their 47 games they played so far.
Mm-hmm.
If they've all played 45 of those 47, to be like, well, yeah, start shutting guys down. Dude, it's happened. They've been winning games when you're like, how are they doing this? Yeah. What are you doing?
I mean, they just won games on a road trip with DeAndre Ayton on the bench.
And I'm never
Raul
going
on the bench, then Donovan playing minutes, you know.
Yeah. It's a really tough spot to be in.
I will agree, though. They do need to deal somebody at the deadline. And if they get out of the deadline without dealing somebody, it is an issue.
There we go. And
yeah.
we're less than a week away. Or a week away today?
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thursday.
God, it's Wednesday.
Thursday deadline, yeah.
All right, we're not doing a very good job of doing what we said we were going to do.
Stay on time? Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah, we'll be quick next.
It happens. Some of your feedback on the Vancouver Ford text line. Here's Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers indeed winners of 5 of their last 6 after finishing the season sweep of Damian Lillard and the Bucks last night. The homestand continues tomorrow night, hosting Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Jeremy Grant, a game-time decision after leaving last night with an ankle injury. Matisse Thybulle, also a game-time decision. The Blazers are 18-29, the 7th worst record in the league. Lakers big Anthony Davis will miss at least a week after suffering an abdominal strain in the first quarter of last night's loss to the 76ers. And in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy shifting his focus to the 2026 hiring cycle. He was in the running for the Saints job, but Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore now believed to be the lead candidate. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Did you score a smart speaker over the holidays? Just ask it to play 1080 The Fan.
Your feedback on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. This text, we're talking about the Blazers. This text says, what's more memorable, one win against the Bucks in a meaningless 27-win season, or truly tanking, getting a generational player? You keep saying that they will start to tank as if every other team won't do the same. And like that.
And you can say that all you want.
That's a tough spot. It's a tough spot,
though. It's not a tough spot. It's not a tough spot. And I'll say this until they show that they can't do it. They said that last year. They said that the year before. And they said that the year before. Every year, the other teams will do it. The other teams will do it. No, they do it. Look, you can get as mad as you want about all of this. The one thing the Trailblazers have shown, that when they steer into the cliff, they blow that mother bleeper up.
Mm-hmm. Trade deadline will be a big indicator.
They go to a level that is heretofore unseen.
You see, but I think the problem is it looks like right now they have missed the on-ramp for said cliff.
No, it doesn't, because right now they're at 18 wins. Last year, they were at 21 wins. If they do the same thing that they've done, they can very easily stay at 21 or 22 wins. I don't know why. The math is there. Go look at it. I've laid it out for you. Not you specifically, everybody who keeps saying that. The second they don't do it, then you can complain.
Wait, so what was their record? They ended the season last year with 21 wins.
Yes.
21 wins last year. That was the third worst record in the NBA.
Yes.
Okay. What was their record through 40?
I think they had 14 wins.
Okay, so, I mean, they are pacing above that.
Yes.
Right now.
And again.
By 4. And this would not be the year. I think the frustration is this is not the year to do it in, right?
It's never the year to do it in.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't the year to do it in with Victor Wembanyama. Like, it's if that was the year, you should have won 0 games that year. They should have gone 0-82.
15-39 prior to the All-Star break. 3
wins.
Yeah, 15-39 last year. They ended 21-61.
So you go more egregious down the stretch.
All right.
Like it's not
more egregious.
It's not that hard.
They went from March 14th till April 3rd between wins last year.
Brother, as I'm saying, like it got dark. It was almost impossible basketball to watch.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like they do their thing, whatever they do, you can argue with it, whatever, before All-Star break. And I think they should be more clear with what they do. But I also have faith that they know how to tank this thing out post-All-Star break.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant hasn't played a game of basketball after March in 3 years. Or in March in 3 years.
Yikes. Well, I think trading some pieces might help to do that.
Mildly helpful.
Yeah. I just worry because it feels like the roster is better than it was last year, though, overall. Another year of play. Scoot is not nearly as hard of a watch. Denny Advia really helps this roster out. Like, the roster's better than it was last year. So even when you shut down Ant, DA, and Grant,
they can still.
I know.
Organizationally, they can dictate some things very quickly.
All right.
Very quickly.
Shaden Sharp is alive.
Because Denny's not in a contract year. Shaden's not in a contract year. Scoot's not in a contract year. No, none of these guys are in contracts here.
See, and that's where I went down the road of, what about New Orleans? Like, they could do that too.
Brandon Ingram's in a contract year.
Okay, keep him. Say good luck running around there with nobody else.
Yeah. And they're not going to shut down DeJounte Murray or Trey Murphy.
Why? I mean, why?
Because those guys are.
Do you think in New Orleans they're like, well, Portland's not going to shut down everybody? And
because those guys are all in their prime. They're all in their prime. You can't. Players in their prime are not getting shut down.
Wasn't Denny in his prime?
No, he's part of. He's also part of the future. In New Orleans, none of those guys are guaranteed to be part of the future. You can shut down guys that are either getting paid or not going to be a part of things going forward because they know of the acceptance or whatever that is.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right on that. I hope you're right on that. You know, like we're all hoping you're right on that.
If they don't do it, then I'll kill them for not doing it.
Yeah.
But the last 3 years, they have done it better than anyone else.
Yeah.
That's what I have to go on.
Ah, man. I just want the season to be over.
Fast forward to the lottery.
Can we do that?
Yeah. Hey, on that note, just a little reminder, the NBA pulled their head out of their bleep and decided to not put the draft lottery on Mother's Day this year. So, bravo.
Hey, that's good. It's on a Monday.
What a bunch of idiots.
Oh, okay. 2-day draft, though.
What? No one wants this.
Everybody
No
wants
one
it.
wants this. Every front office I have talked to is like, I don't
All right.
whatever.
Well, we got Shawne Merriman coming up at the top of the hour. Coming up next, the No Fun League strikes again. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. We got Lights Out himself coming up next. Shawne Merriman will join us. We'll talk some Super Bowls, talk some NFL. But we both have questions on whether or not he would be a player in the NFL right now that would not get fined all the time, because he played with his hair on fire, my man. But before we get to Shawne Merriman, look, we got a nationwide contest going on. And right now it's the time to enter. It's the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. It's easy to enter. all you got to do is download the free Odyssey app if you don't have it already. You log into 1080 The Fan and listen to 1080 The Fan or any of our participating stations. You listen each day for a minimum of 1 hour, and you get your daily entry in, right? You're going to listen to the show? Log into the Odyssey app. Listen to Shawne Merriman. Start that hour on. Keep on going all the way through. The winner of this national contest, they receive travel and accommodations for four. That's a winner. That might be you and 3 of your bros or broettes to Las Vegas plus $20,000 in spending money. That's $5,000 a piece for each of you to fund the ultimate viewing experience of the first 2 rounds of the college basketball championship. Come back each day, listen for another hour to add another chance to win. Keep listening for more info. Go to 1080thefan.com. It is the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. Sign up. That's an awesome.
That's a decent deal.
I gotta say,
Trip
if
to
I'm the winner of
Vegas,
that,
5
it's not
Gs.
$5,000 a piece. That's $20,000 for me, and you guys get to ride the coattails.
Dang, bro.
That's
where
where go
that's how
Pac-Man
you're
Jones,
going?
make it rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go like, hey, by the way, I'm gonna give you guys each $1,000. You know,
Okay,
they don't
well,
have to
that's
know.
fair.
They
Right,
don't
yeah,
have to know.
yeah.
Just you being real nice. Then that leaves you with what, 16 extra?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Boom.
17? 17 extra?
Make them
Let's
pay
go.
the taxes, and then you keep it.
Oh, dang. All right.
Oh, my bad.
That's one way to do it. All right.
Terrible friend.
Let's get to our number 2 on this radio program. We have Shawne Merriman, NFL star, now an analyst for Bet Online. And we're going to talk some Super Bowl and some National Football League in this matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is Danny and Dusty on The Fan.
From the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. Check out Super Butcher Shop specials for the big game like bacon-wrapped jalapenos, smoked ribs, and more at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers have now won 5 of their last 6 after finishing the season sweep of Damian Lillard and the Bucks. The homestand continues tomorrow, hosting Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Jeremy Grant, a game-time decision after leaving last night with an ankle injury. Matisse Thybulle, also a game-time decision. The Blazers are 18-29 on the season, the 7th worst record in the league. ESPN's Shams Charania reporting Hawks forward Jalen Johnson. Season-ending surgery for a shoulder injury suffered last Thursday against the Raptors. In his 4th season, Johnson averaging career highs of 18.9 points, 10 boards, and 5 dimes. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny and Dusty. Weekdays noon to 3 on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan. Danny and Dusty.
My Uncle Gus is the uncle that likes to work the grill. As soon as he walk in the house, it's like, get away from that grill. You don't know how to start no fire.
With the latest on the Blazers, Ducks, Beavers, and the hottest topics in sports.
We're going to eat a hamburger, okay? Here we go. Chandler, throw the mat. Now that's a fire.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
I'm not cooking them brontosaurus burger.
The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Wednesday afternoon here in the Rose City. Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours. Joining us now is Shawne Merriman, courtesy of Bet Online. Check out Bet Online for the most diverse list of well over 1,000 Super Bowl props, including MVP, length of the national anthem, close to 100 Taylor Swift-related props. Oh, my goodness. Broadcast odds, game and player stats, and much more at Bet Online. Shawne Merriman, he was a Rookie of the Year in the NFL. First team All-Pro in 05, 06, second team All-Pro in 07, led the NFL in sacks in that 2006 season, and we are thrilled to have him on. Shawne, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
We are doing awesome. Look, we were thrilled when we heard that you were going to be coming on with us, and the first question that popped into my mind was the kind of electric nature that you played with, where it was go time every time the ball was snapped. As you look at the way the NFL has evolved since when you were in the league and you were leading the NFL in sacks to where we're at right now with the contact maybe not as violent as it once was, where do you think you would have fit into the modern NFL? Because you played so hard, but with the edge rushers and the way they play now, it would have also fit your style.
Yeah, I always make the joke, man, that I'll probably be playing for free, just handing those checks right over back to the NFL. But look, it's still football, right? And I go to a lot of games. I'm around a lot of the guys still. And so I really can't fault them because they have to play within the rules, right? So you hear especially a lot of older guys say, oh, well, the game is soft for these guys soft. No, they just forced to play within the rules. But I think the NFL has done a good job, man, to just protecting it a little bit better. You don't want them to take it too far because it takes the passion and the fun out of the game. It's still football. The reason why football is the greatest sport in the country is the physicality of it. People love the barbaric, the bruteness of it, the hard hits. These guys that are standing 6'7", 330 pounds, running into each other. It's why we love the game. So, when you start taking too much away from it, you lose that passion a little bit.
Shawne, one of the things I wanted to ask you is the game is different, but the things you kind of alluded to, the violence in the sport, it's still there because you're still dealing with some of the biggest, the most impactful humans that there are. And I was wondering, do you see any of your style in today's players? Are there guys that you look at and you see a little bit of yourself or kind of a little callback to how you played?
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Mack is one of my favorite players to watch. Been watching him for a long time. He's our game is kind of very similar, but some of the young guys like Will Anderson, man, he reminds me of a younger version of myself when I first came into the league. A guy that can take the game over, plays with tenacity, very aggressive. You can line him up all over the field, going out and make plays with a lot of enthusiasm and energy. So he reminds me of a younger version of myself as well.
As we look at Super Bowl 59, one thing that every edge rusher loves to have is a guy in the middle that can create some havoc and attract a little bit more attention. And both Kansas City and Philly have those guys in Jalen Carter in Philly and obviously Chris Jones in Kansas City. What does it mean? Can you kind of put it into perspective of what it means to be an edge rusher on the outside when you've got some dominant players on the inside in the interior offensive line and what that does to alleviate some of the pressure on you on the edge?
It's everything. And I always said, I played with Jamal Williams. I don't know if you guys remember Jamal Williams, but Jamal Williams was an unsung hero. He was a guy that in a 3-4 that was taking on double teams all the time, pushing the pocket up the field, just allowing me to go out there and get in those one-on-ones. And you couldn't just fan protection or chip me off of the edge all the time because now you put him on one-on-one situations, which most of the time he's going to win because he was so dominant. So have those guys inside, man, it just takes all the pressure off of the edge rusher, really lets you go out there, just pin your ears back and go.
When you look at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl matchup, can you think of a team that you played against that had that kind of an offensive line with that running game and kind of the bind that would put you in playing off that edge?
Yeah, I would say the Kansas City Chiefs. They had Priest Holmes back there, and then Willie Roaf and Brian Adams. I mean, they had a stout offensive line and the run attack. Even when Priest went out and he got injured, Larry Johnson kind of stepped in there, so it was another rushing attack. You just had to gear up for those guys because they're going to run the ball down the hill. And when they got to that second level to the linebackers, and then they got to the third level in the DBs, you're in trouble. And so when that happened, when they started running the ball well, then you got Tony Gonzalez going to open up. The same thing with the Eagles, same kind of format. When Saquon Barkley starts running the ball well, you start to see A.J. Brown, Smith, those guys get a lot more targets.
We got Shawne Merriman on the line with us, courtesy of Bet Online. Lights out, man. One of the best nicknames in all of sports, joining us on 1080 The Fan. As you faced a lot of great quarterbacks, whether it was Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, in your time, what is it in your approach that changes when you face an elite quarterback like Philly's going to have to go against, lining up against Patrick Mahomes in this Kansas City offense?
You have to understand that these great quarterbacks can hurt you at any given time because, they're not only athletically gifted and talented, but what really makes these guys go is just how their mental approach and their preparation of the game and how they can look at the defense and know exactly what you're doing. Like, you're not going to fool them. And, when you talk about Peyton Manning, he would line up and tell me exactly what we're doing, right? If we're going to move around, a guy was going to shift, I might line up in a B gap to come around and rush off the edge. He would tell me pre-snap. And so you have to understand these guys, the level of preparation they have outside of the physical ability that can hurt you. The preparation leading into the game is just next level.
On the heels of that, Peyton Manning and all of the all-time greats, and Mahomes has this too, that awareness pre-snap of what's coming, even though it may be something that you haven't shown on tape, whether in the last few weeks or all season long. Was it a little bit surprise to you when you saw Josh Allen really taken back by that pressure at the end of the AFC Championship game that Kansas City brought, where they overloaded that right side and they brought the house off that right side? Was that a little bit surprising to see one of the elite quarterbacks kind of almost be taken back by that?
No, not really, because it's Spagnuolo. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And you're talking about one of the greatest defensive minds. And I think he may go down as the greatest before this thing is all said and done. So when you look at how what happened towards the end of the game, Spagnuolo's not his foot is not coming off of the gas. When there's an opportunity to ice the game and finish the game out, he is bringing pressure. He's going to try to confuse you and put you in the worst position possible, and he does that.
Shawne, on the other side of that ball, how different when you're watching the game from when you played, the evolution of the RPO game, and so much of what the Chiefs are predicated on is having so many options in a given play that, with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, the different binds that put you in. You talked about the preparation, but how are you able to kind of exercise those things when you've got so many more different levels to kind of go through as the offense has evolved over the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I was with Patrick Mahomes' quarterback coach during the offseason just a couple of days ago at the Shrine Bowl, and just picking his brain on just what makes Patrick go. And the ability for him to not only use his legs, but his decision-making, right, of when he's supposed to get rid of the ball, when he's supposed to make plays extend, right? Because there's the younger guys that extend plays to the point where they're going to take a big sack or make a mistake. He'll extend plays just enough for Travis Kelce to get open, somewhere in the spot of the field and make something happen there. So I would say outside of his physical talent and his ability, his playmaking and decision-making is even better than that.
You know, in any big game, we know that the stars have got to show up, but it's the role players that make the big impact in a massive game, whether it's a Super Bowl or a conference championship game. As I was looking down the Bet Online Super Bowl MVP odds, Patrick Mahomes obviously 1-1 in the MVP odds. Who's a guy or maybe a position group that you're keying on in this game that the tides of the game will be turned on and maybe get some value in those MVP winner odds on the Bet Online?
Man, if it's not Patrick Mahomes, I like Xavier a lot. And, they have found ways. Xavier Worthy, correct?
Yeah.
They found ways to get him open. And once he gets his momentum or once he starts to, take those end arounds, he's coming around and they hand the ball off to him and they find those short screens because he can turn it up because he's so fast. He can turn it up and turn that 3-yard catch into 15 quick. And he's done that over and over again. So if it's not Patrick Mahomes, I got Xavier Worthy as MVP.
33-1. I like it.
That's juicy. What's like keeping it in the non-quarterback situation? What's the one key non-quarterback related for for the Eagles to pull the upset?
Saquon, obviously, for sure. And we've seen him the entire year and what he's capable of doing. But I want to look on the opposite side of the ball, man. I think that Jalen Carter can come up big in this game and cause Patrick Mahomes to get off of that spot and have to throw on the edge. Now, those edge rushers of KC is going to have to contain once he breaks the pocket because the Eagles pass rush guys like Nolan's going to have to get out there and not come under and not take the bait and rush it up the field and coming under because when that happens and Patrick Mahomes extend those plays, he's going to extend those plays. Travis Kelce's going to find an open window right in the middle of that defense and sit down and get the ball every single time. That's how they hurt you. That's how they continue to win football games by extending plays.
Shawne, we really appreciate the time, man. We know that you are up against it, but always appreciate it. Would love to have you on again sometime soon.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys. And make sure you guys download Lights Out Sports TV. It's my new free ad-supported streaming platform. Bunch of live sports there where we got a big fight Friday, February 7th, a couple days before the Super Bowl for Lights Out Extreme fight, massive fight. We got two guys, actually, that's going to be up ahead to the UFC after this fight. So make sure you guys download Lights Out Sports TV.
Love it. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Shawne Merriman, Lights Out, the greatest nickname in sports, and also the Lights Out app. Shawne is brought to you courtesy of Bet Online. Again, check out Bet Online for the most diverse list of well over 1,000 Super Bowl props, including MVP, length of the national anthem, close to 100 Taylor Swift-related props, broadcast odds, game winner, player stats, and more, including Kendrick Lamar. First song, what do you think it is? What do you think the odds-on favorite is for first song? Kendrick Lamar.
Rapper's Delight.
Close. Wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like us.
Yeah, it is. 2-3, minus 150 on that.
Yeah, and they said that there's a couple words in there, besides the profanity, that they don't want in there. I wonder if he Justin Timberlake's this.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing that.
He's gonna rip off Janet Jackson's top.
Going against what they're supposed to do.
This is a bold move by the NFL.
NFL, yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
They haven't gone this route. Basically, I mean, don't be wrong. They went with 50 and Snoop, but they're 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
they're old.
Well, and
Kendrick Lamar is literally in the middle of a rap beef where some of his biggest hits are ripping down a Canadian and Drake. And Not Like Us, holy guacamole. I don't know if they've ever heard any of the lyrics of that. Yeah. And I like this, but the song, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, 5-1 odds. That is the third best odds coming out of the gate to be the first song played by Kendrick Lamar.
Perfect. I'm old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll follow that with Humble. You never know. You never know. You never know. All right. Great stuff from Lights Out. And look, I love getting his insight. I think he is dead on. He'd be playing for free now in the NFL. He would have been the most productive player, But his target zones, it was like, no, I'm just going to bring quarterback down.
Yeah, and it's not just again, it's not Vontez Burfict dirty. It wasn't that. It was just pure unabashed violence.
Yeah,
and I love watching him play.
Yeah, the Will Anderson one is really
as soon as he
good.
said that, we both looked at each other like,
yeah,
ooh, that's a really good one.
Khalil Mack, it makes sense.
Khalil Mack is like the 1-to-1, like super big up top, violent raw power.
Gosh,
also plays for the Chargers.
Yeah, so it's like it makes sense. Like, oh, lightning bolt on helmet, I know that.
Yeah,
I've seen that before.
Man throw other man very far.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that guy.
I know. I've seen that before. His number's in the 50s too.
Yeah. Also,
make it so easy for me.
We need to bring sack dances back.
Ooh, yeah.
Lights out sack dance, flipping the switch was.
Yeah, it was great.
Great.
It was great. All right, let's get to it. The No Fun League has struck. They are bringing Kendrick Lamar in, but they're a missed opportunity. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Missed opportunity for the National Football League. They get criticized often for being the No Fun League. Did you know that it is an NFL rule that you cannot wear alternate uniforms in the Super Bowl?
Shocking. They would have a rule that sucks.
The dumbest rule ever. Give me, the Eagles are the home team. They could be wearing their Kelly green helmets jerseys
Oh, you mean
with
their
silver
best
paint
looking jersey?
of all time. Like it is the best. It's one of the best looks in the NFL.
Look, you want to color rush this thing? Color rush it with a rad jersey.
Yeah, and they could be the home team.
Honestly,
or they are the home team. But
I'd like to see them. Look. Let's go crazy. And I am a traditionalist when it comes to cool jerseys, where one team wears solid color jersey, other team wears white jersey.
Yeah,
give me the green versus the red.
I feel that would be very confusing for colorblind people.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, my dad's a red-green colorblind.
Yeah. I feel like they would.
I didn't think that through.
I feel like they would be like,
both teams are gray.
I remember that because didn't that happen with the Bills Jets?
Could be. There was one like that.
There was a color rush game where
no, that's fair.
It was a game where everybody's like, I don't know who has the ball. That was colorblind, of course.
Yeah.
Me, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't consider that. So
yeah, but that would be cool.
Like
It'd be a very Christmas feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's
game.
like there's one easy way where you could make the world's largest sporting spectacle even a little bit cooler, and they're like, nah.
But this is like, imagine if you
Wear
had
your
those
best jerseys.
the throwback Eagles against the classic Chiefs with the red helmet in the white jerseys. Like that would be such a good-looking, aesthetically pleasing game. The Eagles uniforms, when I was a kid, loved the color change.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. That was I guess I wasn't a kid.
You're talking about
a
going
teenager.
You're going to talk about going to what they currently have?
To what they currently have. I liked it then.
Oh yeah,
it's not as good anymore.
No. See, I always liked the
best
OGs.
look is the Kelly green.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL saying no, we're not going to have these teams look good. We're just going to roll them all out there. Nah, man. Like the AFC Championship game looked awesome.
Yeah, put teams out there in their best looking jerseys.
Mm.
Like, don't you want to put the best foot forward of like, here's the dopest thing we have?
Nah, sell more. They want to sell more of those jerseys. I hope that the NFL just goes, we're going to let you go back and you make whatever look your primary look.
Do you know what a Kelly green Eagles jersey with a Super Bowl patch would do in Philadelphia?
A lot of babies be made.
That
There's
jersey,
a lot of September babies.
That jersey would sell.
I guess it'd be October.
So many now. Just
November.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the numbers would be unreal.
Yeah, it'd be incredible. I think I would love to have that happen.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I'm not even remotely an Eagles fan. I might cop one just because it's kind of a one-off.
It's pretty dope.
You know what I mean?
Isn't it? I think where it might be going, you remember when one of LeBron's, and this is where I may side with the NFL, one of LeBron's classic highlights of his entire career is ruined because he's wearing a stupid jersey with sleeves on it.
Oh, yeah.
The block off the backboard. Yeah. He's wearing sleeves where he would always rip the T-shirt, the jersey.
Because he was so jacked.
And they were saying like, nope, we're going to still roll them out there in these ugly uniforms. Yeah,
but that's
it's
the
the best look.
Those weren't cool.
Yeah.
And everybody knew they weren't cool. Nobody liked them. But they signed a contract with Nike and blah, blah, blah. Here we are. There's no contractual stuff. Like, there's nobody looks at the Kelly Green Eagles jersey and goes, I don't like those.
No, those are sweet.
It's like when the Raiders go back to their throwback all blacks, like the traditional. And there's not a Raider fan on this planet. It's like, we don't like that. Or when it should be the Texans, but when Tennessee throws on the Oilers jerseys, there isn't a person on the planet who's like, those are ugly.
It's beautiful.
Hell, we've gotten to the point where the Tampa Bay Bucks creamsicles. We see those and we're like, ooh, those are clean.
It's because uniform technology is caught up.
Yeah.
That's it. The technology of the uniform is not baggy. It's tight fitting. Looks good. It's clean.
Chargers powder blues. Yeah. We should have asked Merriman about this because we're like, hey, if you're playing for the Chargers, you're playing the Super Bowl. If you got to wear your powder blues, would you be about that life?
I think they could because their standard uniforms, they have their three different. I think they have. No, they have two different home jerseys. They can wear their navies or their powder blues.
Ooh.
Yeah, because those aren't alternates.
They aren't named as alternates?
Yeah.
God, yeah. That's wearing the powder blues.
Well, that's their base now.
Well, I'm saying, like, in the Super Bowl, like, oh.
Yeah. I hope the Chargers get good at some point.
They're on their way.
You feel like it.
I mean,
yeah, they only have to go through the best coach division in the history of the National Football League.
They did go.
And oh, by the way, one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League.
They did go from 32nd defense in the league to first under Harbaugh in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Like the literal most growth you can have on one side of the ball.
Baby steps. Now they need a game breaker on the outside, and they're going to be pretty good.
And an offensive line.
Well, healthy on the offensive line. They just get injured all the time. They got 2 tackles.
Inside. Let's work on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the fact they're the worst in the NFL. Guard, center, guard. They'll figure it out. It's Harbaugh. He'll figure it out.
No big deal.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But the NFL is, with them not allowing us to see the best looks, shame on them. I'm ready. I'm excited for the Super Bowl, though. I didn't think I would be excited for Eagles and Chiefs. I'm talking myself into it.
We didn't talk about this yesterday.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get to it on Monday, but we ran out of time. And
Okay.
the idea of now people are saying they're not going to boycott the Super Bowl. No, you're not. Shut up.
What are we going to boycott?
Because they don't like the matchup and they don't want to watch this again. And I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm not excited for the Super Bowl. I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not. I mean, I hate the Chiefs. Like viscerally, I hate the Chiefs.
Yeah.
For very obvious reasons.
Yes,
but
'cause
also
you're a Raiders fan.
But also, I'm tired of them.
See.
And they're like again.
Yeah.
They aren't a fun team to watch. They're methodical in their greatness.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are fun to watch, though. I like watching them, and I'm on the other side. Like, I appreciate dynasties and the greatness.
No.
Like
I
of
do.
Mahomes and Andy Reid, and the idea that this Chiefs team is seen as flawed all season long because they were, and they were escaping. But it's like what they did all regular season was a setup for a playoff run. Like, that's what dynasties do. When you know you're just better and you have better coaches, you got the better quarterback, you have the better preparation, you work through all of your kinks throughout the entire regular season so you can be at your best in the postseason. The Chiefs were like this dominant defensive team throughout the regular season. They're not anymore.
No.
Their offense is better. Like, their offense is playing better than their defense right now because they're letting it rip a little bit more, which puts their defense on the field a little bit more. I appreciate their greatness. I understand the fatigue and being like, oh, here they go again. But on the flip side of that, where I've talked myself into this game is like, nobody's giving Philly a chance. And I kind of like that with you can run the football. It all depends on, like, if Landon Dickerson and Juergens, the center, if those guys are healthy.
At least
like,
one
if
of
they're not healthy, good night.
If they're both dinged up, yikes. If at least one of them's okay.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Chris
but Jones is going to sit there and
they
lick his
can
chops.
run the football well. They can wear you down. You see that when you have that threat, that makes a team play very uncomfortable, and it's something.
They have
different.
all the marks,
but it's something
team
different.
that should be able to beat the Chiefs, though.
It's something different than what the Chiefs have seen all season.
They can run the ball, and defensively, and Merriman, when we had him on just a minute ago, was talking about Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, look, the guy was looked at as possibly being a top pick. Talent-wise, that's where he was.
Wasn't a person out there that was saying he wasn't the best interior defensive lineman in college football.
An Ndamukong Suh type. Like, he is, at his peak, his talent is otherworldly. You have to double team, sometimes triple, because his strength is just one-of-one type stuff. They have corners. They have the exciting whites. They have linebacker play. They have pass rushers. Like, they have all of the things that line up that say, yeah, we can beat this team. Like, if you're looking for a formula for how to beat Chiefs, they have it.
That's why I'm talking myself into this game. I think it's going to be a good game.
I think it is actually going to be a good game.
Wait, LeBron stood up one of the exciting whites, and that was not.
Can't stand for that.
In Philly last night, they had like a bunch of the Eagles players were sitting on courtside, I think it was Darius Slay who rang the bell for Philly. And they went, and LeBron dapped them all up courtside, got to Cooper DeJean, was like, that guy doesn't play, and stopped dapping up right when he got to Cooper DeJean. That's a tough look. It's like, you're used to it.
He probably just looked like a fan.
Yep, man. That's brutal, dude.
Look, we finally got one back.
Could you say that he punted on dapping up Cooper DeJean?
Ooh, good Iowa reference there. That's a good Iowa reference.
Look, the exciting whites, we got not only one, we got two back. We have two white DBs in the NFL on the same team.
Well, there's three. The Broncos have one too.
Well, no, I'm saying on the same team.
Yeah, no, on the same team. You got Reed Blankenship and Cooper DeJean, and then oh boy, Broncos got one too.
There's another one in this draft.
Yeah,
I gotta look at his name, but we're making a comeback.
Yeah,
we're making a comeback. We will not stand
Riley Moss. Riley Moss. That's the Denver Broncos.
We will not stand this slight by LeBron James just because Cooper DeJean probably looked like he was just there watching the game.
I will go back to when my roommate in college went and played for the Toronto Argonauts. In the very first meeting, he introduced himself and was like, corner. And the entire room, team meeting, erupted in laughter and said, no, seriously, what position do you play? And he's like, no, I play corner. And that was in Canada.
Oh, man. Somewhere Jason Sehorn is doing cartwheels.
All right. Well, Super Bowl. Let's go. Put him in the Kelly Green. Just surprise us, Raj. Do it. Do it. Do it.
There you go. All right, come up for our worst day on the web. Adam Silver. Sweet,
So
good
bad.
golly. David Stern, if he hasn't rolled over in his grave, is doing it now. We'll get to that first. But here's Big Kuno with Sports Center Update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation in vulcandc.com. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers have now won 5 of their last 6 after finishing the season sweep of Damian Lillard and the Bucks. The homestand continues tomorrow, hosting Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Jeremy Grant, a game-time decision after leaving last night with an ankle injury. Matisse Thybulle, also a game-time decision. The Blazers 18-29 on the season, the 7th worst record in the league. ESPN Shams Charania reporting Hawks forward Jalen Johnson will have season-ending surgery for a shoulder injury suffered last Thursday against the Raptors. He's in his 4th season, averaging career highs of 18.9 points, 10 rebounds, which also leads the team, and 5 assists. Lakers big Anthony Davis will miss at least a week after suffering an abdominal strain in the first quarter of last night's loss to the 76ers. And in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy shifting his focus to the 2026 hiring cycle. He was in the running for the Saints job, but Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore now believed to be the lead candidate. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
There are very few things that Adam Silver has done where I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And yet he strikes the gear again. Sat down and his latest idea might be his dumbest yet.
Well, oh, what do you say now?
His exact words. Nope. Of course, the ad starts playing. There we go.
Sure.
As we get more involved in global basketball, the NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes.
Yeah.
I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters. I'm not sure how many others are, and putting aside what it means for records and things like that, I think that a 2-hour format for a game is more consistent with modern television habits.
No.
Guess what? He's talking about shortening the game to 40 minutes from 48 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking about shortening the commercials or starting the games on time or making the games more enjoyable. They're talking about shortening the product, making the product worse, and still shoehorning all of the things that make money in there. Like going to a commercial for 2.5 minutes, coming back for 30 seconds, and then going back to another 2.5 commercials, which they do at all their national TV games.
I don't think that is the answer, Adam.
It's diabolical.
Yeah. I think whistle stopping games really elongates that. And so he's like, hey, if we just take the final 2 minutes out of the end of a quarter, then the games are going to speed up, right? No. Then from the 8-minute mark to the 10-minute mark of a quarter are going to be the slowest minutes of the basketball game. I don't think that this is really going to help anything. I think it's pretty dumb that he's like, yeah, nobody else in the world does it. So, we're not going to do it either. There's a lot of things the NBA does that no other league in the world does. Like paying guys $55 million a year. That's a pretty big start to it right there. There's so many things that the NBA in any professional sport does that are different than the college ranks or the other professional ranks around the world do. This isn't it, Adam. Can we start by just reducing hand checking and getting that out, and then we can talk?
Is the literal one thing, if I was commissioner for a day,
that's it, dude.
It would start with, and the last actual couple of games, 2 weeks or 10 games, maybe roughly, we're getting back to what we were last year.
Give me a
when the basketball was. I asked Chauncey Billups about it pregame. He goes, and I had to phrase it in a way where he's not going to get fined, but yes, it is coming back. They're allowing more of it. And outside of the back-to-back challenges last night between the Bucks and the Blazers, which, God, that game was slowed to a crawl.
First half went by very fast.
For a national TV game, that game flew in the first half. Why? Because I think there's 4 combined turnovers, and there was almost no fouls. I think it was 8 or 9 total fouls at halftime between both teams.
Give me more of that.
Yeah, and you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is an absolute force of nature, dictating with his physicality, but Denny was bumping guys. 2 was bumping guys. DA grabbing and fighting with Giannis. And you know what you had? You had really good basketball.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun basketball to watch.
Day 2 on the job, I would burn the refs union to the ground and start from scratch, but I think this is a more viable starting point.
Yeah, shortening the game 8 minutes, that's a weird take,
It's a different basketball game. That is a different sport.
Don't like it.
At all.
Don't like it. And look, sometimes commissioners just say things and it's like, oh, well, that's never going to happen. I hope this one does not gain any traction because it would not be for the betterment of the sport. If you want to speed the game up, there's several ways to do that. And if anything, the games are still going to be the same amount because they're just going to find a way to fit their commercial breaks in, as you said, and make the game just as long.
Yeah, if you think that they're going to shorten the game and take less commercials, you're out of your mind.
When you said start the games on time, that's a great one.
Look, England does nothing right. They do nothing right. The one thing they do right, go watch a Premier League game for a noon kickoff. There is a ref standing at midfield with his foot on the ball. Mm-hmm. With his watch up, watching the second hand. And the second it's 11:59, tweet.
Boom. Game starts.
Game starts. And it is a mwah. And you're talking about the most watched league in the world.
Yeah. I think we should do it. But TV, that's the thing. Yeah. TV windows.
Well, here's
games go long. Well, expand your TV windows then in games and start on time.
Also, the trade-off is you get advertisements on jerseys. I throw all the ads in the jerseys, make them look like NASCAR. If you're going to, if that
Don't
isn't,
like it.
would you rather have
Don't
that,
like
or if I told you you get a NASCAR the jerseys, but the games start on time, the way they're officiated is with more physicality, the way that we like it, and they don't change any of the game time, would you take it?
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, probably not. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I don't think that the physicality is tied to the jersey thing. But if you were to tell me, like, if it was like, hey, we need ways to generate revenue in commercial breaks.
I'm saying like starting on time is
starting on time being the main factor. Still no.
Starting on time and reducing all of the
I
bloat
don't like,
around it.
I don't like billboard uniforms.
You mean, like actually tipping at 7 o'clock when it's called a 7 o'clock tip?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, instead of 7:10, 7:15.
Yeah, or the 7:30 tip that starts at 7:53.
Yeah, 7:53. Yeah, you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no, I would rather them just be like, hey, be honest with your TV windows that are never like they tell you. You look on the guide, right? And the guide's like, yeah, this game's going to go from 5:30 and then it's just going to end at 7. We're like, no, it's not. We know that game's not going to end at
7:22.
Yeah, give me that window to 7:30 and just don't lie to me about when the game starts. Just start it at the time it's going to start at. So don't tell me one thing when you know it's not going to happen.
Well, now,
because it never does.
Am I incorrect in this? TNT has different like commercial break lengths than typical, like even ESPN broadcasts.
Yeah, you get that in like Fox, like with Fox to NBC to ESPN, ABC games.
ESPN
in college football, like it's all different. Where they put their spots, some will have like 2.5 minutes at one spot, the other one's like 3. Like, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's the same thing in the NBA too, where the break lengths and the inventory that they have.
TNT runs a lot of
games are
in-game
different.
stuff too.
Yeah.
Because why? They prioritize the Ernie, Shaq, Chuck, Kenny show.
Yeah. Give them more time.
Pay those guys a lot of money.
And ESPN doesn't. That's why you literally will see them go 30 seconds on and then a break. And that's the halftime show. Like, it'll go, and then they'll go to a 3-minute break, and then they'll have like a minute of halftime, and then
somebody did this. They never got even up to a minute 30.
Dang.
It was like a minute. I want to say it was like a minute 18, and it was like,
that's a no.
What
good.
is this?
That's a no good. All right. Well, Adam Silver, you're out.
Stop.
You're fired.
Look, I'm at the point where I'm pretty sure the dead body of David Stern might be more effective as a commissioner.
Wow, it's rough. Dude.
It's just
as he chokes on his water bottle.
It's just, not me.
You know, that
Stern.
gif.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
It's
oh, I know.
Is the game in a better legitimately, is the game in a better spot with Adam Silver as commissioner?
No.
Because all I keep hearing is like it was like, well, then suggest something different. Like we've all suggested the same things that they won't do.
I also think though commissioners often get dragged, and it's like they're doing a lot of the work of the owners.
Oh, sure.
Like they're not in charge of really anything.
The difference was Stern was, because he brought those guys together, and I think that's what good commissioners do. Is they go, I understand I work for you, but here's what you need to do.
Yeah, but David Stern also was not
your typical commissioner.
Well, he also wasn't like the best and the greatest. He screwed up a lot, and I think people later in his tenure they recognized the good that he did, but in the moment, like he had a lot of faux pas. Remember the dress code was David Stern, the officials and the flight stuff that was under his watch as well. Like there's a lot of stuff that happened that people are like, dude, what are you doing? But
that's the refs union.
You settle in, but that's also the job of the commissioner of the NBA too, and the oversight, the Tim Donaghy stuff.
Yep,
that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, he's definitely got some. Scott Foster's still reffing,
turning the blind eye to. Remember one of the first things that Adam Silver did was Donald Sterling and getting him out of the league, and David Stern was like, yeah, nope, not looking over here, even though everybody knew how awful of an owner and person he was.
It went public. That was the difference.
Yeah, but everybody knew.
Yes, but also you can't fire your boss.
Well, I know that getting guys to pull in the same direction and get guys out though that aren't good for the product. That's part of your job.
Shout out Viv.
And look, Yeah, shout out Viv and that weird mask that she always wore. That was so weird. Remember, Rob Manfred, he's been seen as like the worst commissioner in baseball history. In 1 year, he kind of made up for a lot of the stuff that he lost.
Oh, he did.
With improving the game. So in Roger Goodell, heavy-handed commissioner, everybody hated him. He's actually done a lot of really good things for the NFL.
He got a lot wrong early, and he's got a lot right recently.
You can adapt, and you can change that narrative, and Adam Silver needs it in a big way.
Because he hasn't gotten it right yet.
No.
Where's the thing that he's gotten it right on?
Getting rid of Adidas as the uniform manufacturer?
I'd argue, was that really right considering what we've gotten with Nike?
I mean, we don't have sleeves on jerseys anymore.
Like,
I call that a win.
I'm with you, but it's like these have also not been good either.
There have been some bad ones.
Yeah. So, all right. Coming up next, well, let's go from one union to another. The collectives are starting to collectively bargain in college football, and what that can mean here for college football. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. The collectives in college football are collectively collectiving again.
Oh, hey.
That's a real thing.
Oh, this could be huge.
I definitely didn't make that whole thing up.
Nope.
Ross Dellinger with a report that the collectives are collectively bargaining, or looking to collectively bargain. More than 45 collective leaders are in D.C. to discuss whether the House settlement, or discuss the House settlement and how their own collective bargaining proposal can kind of be worked in to everything. And again, my personal thoughts are that while $3.8 billion is a nice starting spot for the NCAA, I think it's probably going to double when it's all said and done that they end up owing in the billions of dollars. And I think that the collectives are looking at this as like, okay, how do we get our hands around this and what this means for football, the dispersal of former athletes, how funds are run through going forward, some sort of structure, and this is the first real step to the ultimate death of the NCAA as it pertains to college football.
I think those steps have already been taken, but
this is the scalpel cutting it away.
But you have to have collectively bargained rules.
Yes, that everyone has to be a part of.
That is, if the schools are going to start paying student athletes through the institution, there does have to be an element of collective bargaining, which I think is interesting that I didn't quite know before, is that there actually is something called the collective agents or the collective association, the TCA. And what it's like there's 45 institutions whose collectives are kind of getting together and they're going to try to spearhead this to get the ball rolling on collective bargaining. And the idea that the collectives are a part of this, it is kind of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths because of the fact that it has been the wild, wild west with collectives. But it might be the right way to go about it because the Department of Justice has already said, we're looking into how this is going to operate, and we don't think that $20.5 million is nearly enough. And telling people where to spend your money, that ain't going to happen either because this isn't legal when it's completely one-sided by the employer, in this case, the universities. And you can't dabble in, being public with like Title IX and having to adhere to Title IX and also have like $20.5 million capped spending. The $20.5 million capped spending, unless you have like the antitrust exemption, you're going to have to get this stuff collectively bargained. And the collectives are kind of reading the room here and saying, well, if they're going to say there's an issue with $20.5 million being distributed to all the student athletes, maybe we get in on this at the ground floor where now we can say the collective still can fund those NILs. And if it's uncapped and it's not 20.5, if it's capped at 60 or $80 million for athletic departments, that's where collectives are going to be very, very useful.
Yeah, I mean, they become clearinghouses.
Well, they already do have a clearinghouse set up for it.
And that's the thing is that as you cut away the fatty ends of the NCAA as it pertains to college football, that's what this is. They're just trimming what little bit they have left, and they're setting up their own structure. And this is, number one, you have to set the financial barriers around everything, and then you need somebody who's in charge of it all.
But here's the issue that I have. The collectives are not the student athletes themselves.
No.
Now, they are saying, well, we need to get in on this and start bringing some of the student athletes in.
And they're probably looking at lining their own pockets in a way.
Who is the right voice, and where do those voices come from to collectively bargain for the student athletes? That's the big part of this, because the NCAA, one thing that they have done a decent job of, especially in the last 25 years, is bringing more student athletes in to the conversations of management, making of rules and guidelines. And that was under the guise of the NCAA because you're under that umbrella.
Sure.
This is kind of counter to that, to where there is no players union set up like we have in the National Football League, NBA, Major League Baseball, professional soccer, all of it. And you have such a variety of sports in the sheer number of athletes that this is going to cover. It's in the thousands.
Yes.
Like multiple thousands.
And the interesting thing about this that you have to consider is, and this isn't, I mean, it is, I'll be blunt, you've got dumb kids. That's what you're dealing with. Now, occasionally you're going to have a 22, 23, 24-year-old, But the problem is, like, when you're talking about in the NBA, in the NFL, in the MLB, when you're talking about the player rep presidents, the player union presidents that are like the actual players. In the NBA, it was Andre Iguodala, C.J. McCollum. It's guys that are in their late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
They have life experience. They understand things better.
Who have had millions of dollars.
Who have had millions of dollars. You're talking about getting feedback, and you should, but there's a but here for sure. You're an 18-year-old kid, and you don't know a damn thing.
Yeah.
Your management expertise is
really
non-existent. Your understanding of responsibilities and how to manage that kind of money is so far gone. I mean, we watch these 20 to 23, 24-year-olds throw money away in every professional sport, ended up broke immediately. What happens when it's a 19-year-old? And now you're talking about you're the voice or one of the voices for thousands of players. But not only that, you can't keep one of these guys for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Because you got to go get the most important guys. You can't go get the Reggie Bushes and the Tim Tebows and the biggest names in college football because they're gone to the NFL.
Well, and that's when you need to have people circling back. But look, every single players union has got a president of it that is not an active player that oversees it, and that picking that person is going to be the most important one, because think of it in these terms, right? If the NFL has got roughly 1,700 players in the NFL, the NBA is between 500 and 600 players, depending on what time of the year it is.
Because they're not retired, yeah.
Okay. Major League Baseball is 949 players on opening day rosters, okay? To put that into perspective, the biggest league in the players union is the NFL, 1,700 players, right? They have so many issues with their collective bargaining agreement because you have the top and the bottom. And there is a wide discrepancy
There's not really a middle class in the NFL.
1,700 players. That's the biggest players union in our professional sports. There are roughly 1,700 student athletes at Ohio State and Oregon combined.
Yeah. You're talking about a massive number.
Just 2 schools account for and you want to talk about the discrepancy in NIL and how funds are going to be distributed. Look at a one singular college in their
let's do the math
athletic department. A track and field distance runner who's third on the team, not even on the same planet as a starting quarterback.
Just do the very basic math just for college football. Just college football. 131 teams right now?
134.
134 teams.
Yeah.
We're doing 100-man roster caps?
105, yeah. 105, yeah.
It was 105 that settled on? So let's do the quick math. Just make sure I do it quick. 134 times 105. That's 14,070.
Yeah. That's just football.
That's just football. And by the way, half those are rotating out every year.
Yeah. Dang. If you want to do just rough, but Division I basketball, and this is going to be the hard part, is what are you going to do? Because there's
316?
It might be more than that. But if you just want to go, all right, say all of them have 13 guys on their team. That's 4,108. So you're up to 18,000 just men's basketball.
Men's
and
D1
football.
basketball and college football.
Yeah.
It's before you get to women's basketball. It's before you get to baseball. It's before you get to gymnastics or track and field.
That is the biggest issue for me. Like that like the collectives can get in on this and they can have their say.
It's why college football has to be entirely separate. It has to be entirely separate from everything.
I think, football and basketball together. I think you can, because of just the sheer magnitude of it and the money involved.
I think they end up being different, but both separate. I think you have like a basketball czar, and I think you have a football czar.
Oh, yeah, you could have that.
But I mean, as far as like how things are, I think you run them entirely different because you're going to have different goals. And, in basketball specifically, the guys at the top, they really mean more. Like on the top of a roster, like when you get a Cooper Flag versus the 5-year guy at Northern Colorado, it's the demands and the asks, and like they are drastically different in college basketball than in college football.
Yeah, it's also weird dichotomy because Cooper, it's a 1 year thing.
Yeah.
He's not going to be there for 3 years.
But that's my point. Is like the revenue
Yep.
and the money that they bring in and how much they're paid and all. That's why I'm saying it. They're just so different. Coming up next, do you want to have the conversation? Do we want to have
No.
our animal pet? You want
No.
to save it for the next? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, fine then. I'll do something different. I was trying to make you happy and get it in there. But I do actually want to pivot back to the Blazers. That was where I was going to
Yes.
go next because there's some audio that came out of last night I think is actually pretty important to hear. Just kind of like where things are and where the kind of players' mindsets are. We'll get to that more here in hour number 3. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers have now won 5 of their last 6 after finishing the season sweep of Damian Lillard and the Bucks. The homestand continues tomorrow, hosting Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Jeremy Grant, a game-time decision after leaving last night with an ankle injury. Matisse Thybulle, also a game-time decision. The Blazers 18-29 on the season, the 7th worst record in the league. Lakers big Anthony Davis will miss at least a week after suffering an abdominal strain in the first quarter of last night's loss to the 76ers. And Hawks forward Jalen Johnson will have season-ending shoulder surgery to repair a torn labrum. Suffered last Thursday against the Raptors. In his 4th season, Johnson averaging career highs of 18.9 points, 10 rebounds, which also leads the team, and 5 assists. And over in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy shifting his focus to the 2026 hiring cycle. He was in the running for the Saints job, but Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore now believed to be the lead candidate. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan. Danny Meringue.
And then I went to this movie theater. Then I made a noise like this.
Dusty Hera.
Then this was horrible. All the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other.
I'm beginning to like this kid much.
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and Portland's sports leader, 1080. The Fan.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty on a Wednesday afternoon, whether you're listening on 10 a.m., watching along on youtube.com/1080am the fan or twitch.tv/1080am the fan. We appreciate you, love you. Thank you for hanging out with us on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I want to get back to the Blazers in general, not just the game against the Milwaukee Bucks, but there was some audio that came out of the postgame that I thought was pretty telling, both from Anthony Simons and from Deni Avdija. Both those guys played incredibly well last night. And usually when he has some games that, he goes off, he just kind of nukes from 3. He hit the shot making for him last night was incredible. It was just pull up after pull up after pull up after runner after floater. It was like, oh, this is really good basketball. And for a night,
who had a good run of that too is Shaden Sharp.
Yeah, he came right off the bench.
A couple threes, just bop bop.
And I think he got started with his first shot was a dunk.
Mm-hmm.
Right down the lane, packed it, and then he goes to the pull-up 2. Then he goes to the 3, and you're like, and then another pull-up, and you're like, oh, hey, aggressive Shaden. I like this guy. But I want to start with Deni, because Deni last night, number one, there's some fun stuff here, but there was a little thing that came out of this about his role and how he sees things for him and how they've changed this season.
I think I played well. I don't know, like every game is different. Every game, like I do different things. Like you need me for different things. One game I'm defending a little bit better. One day I'm driving a little bit better. So maybe in a complete game, yeah, it was my best game.
It's a very simple line, but Chauncey Billups was asked if he thought that was Deni's best game. And Chauncey was like, he hesitated a little bit, but I could see, yeah, it was his highest scoring game. He was also really good as a rebounder, and maybe his assists were down a little bit, but you could say it was his best game. And I just thought it was a very interesting way of framing it, because he kind of like did the, you think it was my best game? Like, and not in like a bad way, but just like, I think he takes a step back and thinks about things very differently, not just points, and not in box score stuff. It's that his game is so malleable.
I think that's the reason why I would appreciate having Toumani Camara and Deni Avdija being guys that are building block guys. And even Donovan Clingan, with what he has said at such a young point in his career, just 34 games in, is the fact that these are guys that points don't matter.
No.
And even though points can be seen as what dictates a good game or a bad game, that is not what they determine a good game or a bad game. It is, what have we done to help a team win? Now, that is also the big issue with having too many of guys like that on your roster. Having those 3 as building block guys and all of them being 24 years old or younger, that is huge to have if you're the Portland Trailblazers, because, all right, they're going to be around for a few more years. But when you get the star, those guys seamlessly kind of fit in to playing alongside somebody that is better and will take more touches. But having a guy like Denny Avdia who can say, was that my best game? Yeah, you dropped 30, dude, and you were all over the place and instrumental to beating the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, it was a pretty good game. I think those guys are wildly valuable moving forward. You just need to land the big fish, or they're just a bunch of guys in the NBA. They're the Jags, right? Just a guy.
I'd stop you there for a split second, just because I think Denny is above that. I think he's got the capacity to be one of the best role players, and I'm not going to cap him. It's very unlikely. I see him as a guy like a forward version of Derek White or a Drew Holiday or an Andre Iguodala. All very different players, but like the connecting piece where if he made an all-star game once in his career, a Mike Conley, a Jeff Teague, it wouldn't surprise me, though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's again, very unlikely, but I think he's a guy that when he's fully actualized and in his prime, you're looking at a guy that's like 18, 8-5, 20, 8-5, like,
yeah,
insanely good numbers, while also being able to do what makes him unique is he's 6'9", he's 245 pounds, and he can dribble, pass, shoot, and defend.
Right.
How many players are there like that in the NBA?
Well, that's why I'm saying all of those guys that you mentioned play alongside stars. And like that's the thing, is that you'd forget about them had they not been next to a star, to where it's like, yes, what is he connecting? Because right now in Portland, he's not connecting much. In Washington, wasn't connecting anything, right? And so you're connecting the star in elevating their game. That's all I'm saying in that. I agree with you in that, yeah, he is far better than that, but if you don't put that star around him, he'll get lost, and he'll just be like, he was a good player,
just a good player,
bad team.
But I thought that was really interesting, just how malleable he can be.
Yeah,
because that's the thing about him. Where, I've heard some people in the John Hollinger was like, I don't get it. Like, why would they make that trade for him? I don't know if he's too old for them. I was like, he turned 24 2 weeks ago. 24. He's not in his prime for another 3 years. And he's on an incredible contract, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the whole idea of kind of like where he is and how he has grown to fit in with this team, I thought was a really interesting insight. And I don't know, I'm searching for the right word for it. It's promising that he's able to process that.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Anthony Simons got up there, and he has asked a couple things about getting up for the game, but the thing that I really want to get to was he was asked I think it was the last question of his press conference. He was asked about how he thinks Shaedon Sharpe has handled coming off the bench.
I think he's been handling it well. Obviously, it's going to be it's going to be tough for him for sure. Just naturally, for any situation, no matter what, and it just is time to stand up and show who he is as a person, as a player, and to go out there and be himself. I think that's what, to me, I think, quote unquote adversity, shows true character. And, for him, if it's adversity, then he got to stand up and show who Shaedon is. You know what I mean?
That's something that I think Ant would not have said a couple years ago, but he was very blunt and honest and about kind of where he looks at Shaedon. And Ant has told me, like, I've had talks with Shaedon about, getting a bad defensive label. You don't want to get that label, because no matter what you do, there's nothing you can do to get that stink off of you. You can't. So he has been a guy who was like, and I think the team in general is.
I think Anthony Simons saw that from Damian Lillard.
But
that was the thing about, like, Dame was not nearly as bad and is not nearly as bad of a defender as he was at the beginning of his career. He'll never get that stink off of him, though.
No. And Ant had said he's told me plenty of times that he wishes he would have understood that sooner, because you're told as a young guy you'll get paid for offense, and that's, for the most part, that's true.
True.
If you want to make money in the NBA, score. It's Ant just
get those points up.
Ant got $100 million out of it. It's tried and true. But if you want to stick and you want to have an impact, You got to focus on the other stuff. And Ant said he took too long. And I think all of the guys that are on the team that are not even just Ant, Jeremy, Rob, I think any of the guys that have been in the league for 4 years or more understands what Chauncey is trying to do with Shaden right now. For all of the people I can't understand why Shaden Sharp is coming off the bench. It's malfeasance. It's a travesty. No, it's not. I'd argue that what Chauncey Billups is doing is the most important thing for Shaden Sharp. Because if he doesn't figure this out, if he doesn't understand it, he's not going to be capable of being the guy that he could be.
Yep. And part of a tank is also you have to be able to develop some of the guys that you may want to lean on. But also it's protecting them from themselves at times too, so you can get assets for them if that time comes where, the right package does come to light and somebody wants Shaden Sharp, right? And getting the best value out of that is continuing to get the best interest. And a lot of people just want guys thrown out onto the floor to suffer, and that's not how you're going to grow your team. I want losses just as much as everybody else because I want the best odds to win the lottery. But at the same time, you cannot do that, and because if you do not take it seriously as an organization, the development and well-being of the players who are getting, yes, their paychecks are from the organization, so they need to fall in line. But you lose so much credibility with players if you intentionally run it into the ground. And it takes a very long time to get that stink off. And right now with the Blazers, I'm nervous. They got 18 wins right now.
Yeah.
They got 18 wins. I'm nervous about that.
No, nervous is the right way to be.
At this point in the year, if you're right and they can strip this thing down better than anybody else, at the end of the day, they'll have one of the worst 5 records in the NBA. That's where you want to be. Mm-hmm. It is a lottery. There is no guarantee that if you are the worst team, you get the number 1 pick anymore. You sure want to be in that bottom 5, and hope in the bottom 3 would be great. But you still have to have some tact in the way you do it. It's nervous. It is a nervous time right now because they peel off a few more wins. You shot yourselves in the foot in what is a really good draft.
No, you're 100% right, and that's what I keep trying to emphasize. You cannot get worked up about it now. When they cross over that threshold, the year the Spurs won the lottery for Wemby, how many wins did they have?
I have no idea.
It's 22.
Okay.
It was the Spurs steered into the skid. It's the exact number I've been saying from the jump because you're not going to Wizards this thing. The Spurs didn't Wizards this thing. You can't. The Wizards are doing this because they've got 40 years of stink.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing this.
Wait, that was 22, 23, the 2022-23 draft? Yeah, they had 22 wins that year, but it was the second worst record in the NBA.
But
the second worst record, that inherently gives you better odds, though.
But look at the team at the bottom.
It's Detroit.
Okay, what happened to them?
They were, 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They got bumped back.
They got bumped back year after year after year, and that's what I'm saying.
But 1, 2, and 3
you have better odds.
the equal odds across the board. That's where you want to be.
It's a 4% better odd than 4th. 4%.
Yeah, but
Again,
it's better.
I understand the math, but this is not what it was 2019 and previous.
No, it's
not. If this is pre-process Sixers, I would say drive this thing, go 0-82 because the value is there. The value isn't there for 4%. It's just not.
Yeah.
So, all right, coming up next, it's time for our semi-new segment now. It's gonna be fun. A little bit of fact or fluke.
Yeah, let's do it.
My brain stopped working there. Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. It's Wednesday. It's 2:15-ish because we're right on time. It's time for Fact or Fluke. Is it a fact? Is it a fluke? Is it somewhere in between?
If you're in your car, it's 225.
It is.
So
it's a little.
It's not even close to the ish.
Yeah, it's off. Fact or Fluke. Following last night's performance, his career high as a Trailblazer, Denny Avdia is the best value in the NBA.
For his contract, dude, it's getting harder and harder to ignore that because he's on a sweetheart of a deal.
It's a declining deal.
And it goes down to what, in 4 years it'll be at,
if I remember right, it's $11.8 million.
That's a smoking deal.
Under 12.
I would
say as the cap goes up.
In this era of the NBA, yeah. I wonder how long it's going to be before he maybe starts fighting for a restructure.
Well, you can't restructure in the NBA. The restructure does not exist. But yeah, he's at a 15.68 or 15.6 this year. It is in his age 27 season, which is the 27-28 season. He will make $11.875 million, or take up currently what is 6.35% of the cap.
Who else is on a sweetheart of it? I mean,
non-rookies.
Everybody said like Brunson was going to be it, but
Brunson, even his deal right now is incredible because he is a top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah, I'd say like I'll have to go Fluke, and I'll have to say Jalen Brunson, because his deal that he took was really smart, especially in this era of the CBA.
Here's the insane thing, and Brunson is better. Don't. That's not what I'm saying. Brunson's cap hit is 22.6% in his final year, which is 28-29. As the cap currently sits, it's going to go up. So it's actually, this number is going to come down. Yikes. It's at 21%. So with the way we're doing a quick estimation, in 4 years, when Denny's in the last year of his deal, his contract will take up roughly less than 4%, 3% of the cap. Yeah, 3% of the cap. I'm just trying to go off max pushes from the CBA, which it does sound like it will happen. And Brunson's will be 18.5%.
It's a good little deal there. Good little deal. Now you need to star, and then it becomes the best, and it's not even close.
And again, Brunson will be 32 then. Denny Avdia will be 27.
All right, I got one for you. Will Pete Carroll bring in a quarterback on his last legs? Pete Carroll said, "We'll see," when asked about Russell Wilson.
Fiction. Please, God, be fiction.
You want this?
I want so much fiction. I do not want the Russell Wilson experience.
I think it's a fact, and it may not be Russell Wilson. Could you imagine Pete Carroll and Aaron Rodgers in Las Vegas? I think they're going to go and get an old head. They're going to bring an old head in.
I'm okay with old head, just not Russ.
And somebody on his last legs that they're like, I just think there is an awareness. And look, Tom Brady's going to play a big role in this. We all know that. And as to who the next quarterback is and how long they're going to keep them there for, because they won't get that guy this year. In all likelihood, not going to get that guy this year. So I think a quarterback on his last legs, yeah, because I don't think Sam Darnold, they have an awareness like Sam Darnold wouldn't work there. Justin Fields wouldn't work there. Daniel Jones ain't going to work there.
Why don't you think Darnold would work there?
Because they don't have an offensive line. Did you see Sam Darnold when he got pressured in their playoff game?
Their offensive line is not horrendous.
Sam Darnold
it's a middling offensive line.
And he has a weapon. Sam Darnold had...
You're not wrong.
4, and when he got pressured, it was Panic City again. There's certain quarterbacks that need a perfect storm. Sam Darnold, I don't think is going to be that guy.
I'm not necessarily pushing for him. I understand what you're saying as far as the weapons. I agree there.
Weapons and line.
Think about Russell Wilson. He ain't taking off. He ain't running. He's not extending plays anymore.
No.
And if he's got no weapons and his offensive line is so, you can't go down that path either.
Well, you're on a old guy, veteran, can see it. For all the knocks against Russell,
where's a Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I have a ton of them against Russell Wilson. At least with him, you know that you're not going to give some false hope to your fan base that he could be the guy moving forward. It is a complete stopgap, but it is somebody that can recognize and has seen almost everything in the NFL. Those are the kind of guys that you want right now, because if it gets to the point where Sam Darnold's seeing ghosts out there, you don't want that guy trying to get the ball to Brock Bowers because it might get him killed.
As a point of reference, the Raiders pass blocking, according to PFF, 13th in the league, sandwiched in between the Chargers and the Chiefs, the AFC West, all right in one little spot.
Mm-hmm.
So, viable.
Yeah.
Viable.
Yeah.
You can get away with it. All right, fact or fiction? The Saints are without a coach, and boy, are they in trouble.
Fluke, I don't think they're in trouble. Well, they're in trouble for a lot of other reasons, not because they don't have a coach. Their salary cap is a mess. Think of the guys that they were going with in the interview process, right? Mike McCarthy said he's out and he's going to go for 2026 coaching cycle. The two names that have been linked to that Saints job the most are Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. He's still working right now. And Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, who just got done working this past Sunday. I don't think that it is going to be a situation where they are just a rudderless ship with nobody wanting that job. I think this more leans towards Mike McCarthy was like, maybe not a good fit for me, and they already know who they have.
I look at that, and it might be the worst job in the NFL outside of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
There's no path out. There's no easy fix. There's no, well, if we just do this. No, it's going to be a swallow your pride for 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
It's the Broncos 4 years ago where you went, oh, crap.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the Broncos this year. Eating all that dead money from Russell Wilson, but
a rookie-scale quarterback was able to save them.
Mm-hmm.
Can the Saints bottom out enough? And do you want to be the coach that bottoms out? Because if you're the bottom-out coach, you're not the coach going forward. They need a stopgap coach even more than the Raiders do.
Yeah, and Mike McCarthy's like, I don't want that to be my last job.
Because it might be.
It would be.
Now, if you're a young coach, you probably don't want that either because we're seeing coaches getting smarter. So if you're a retread coach and you're like, screw it, maybe that's the opportunity.
Joe Brady makes sense. Kellen Moore also makes sense, though. Joe Brady, because that's where he started, he was an analyst for the Saints when LSU hired him.
Has ties with Mickey
Loomis. There in the building. There's that draw and attraction. For Kellen Moore,
I'd say
now that Brian Schottenheimer's in Dallas, it's like, where's your head coaching job going to be at, though? And he will always be a good coordinator. Not elite, but good coordinator.
Call that guy over in Detroit that left for Chicago. I guess call him in Chicago now and go, hey, you took a year off when there was a coaching job. How'd that work out for you? Yeah, because now you understand where the landscape is, and a job that you took a year later, you have more control, i.e. Ben Johnson. Things make more sense, and you've advanced past some things that were maybe a little, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't know if Kellen Moore will be the hot name, though, next year.
Do you think that if he doesn't take a job this cycle, he's never going to get one, though?
No.
So,
yeah,
I just kind of pocket that one. All right, coming up next, now we're going to do it.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
We have to do this.
4 animals enter.
Yep.
Only one may leave.
This is mind-boggling, the answers that were on the internet as to who would win this.
We will get to this next. But first, here's the Big Kuno Sports Update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers have won 5 of their last 6 now after finishing the season sweep of Damian Lillard and the Bucks. The homestand continues tomorrow, hosting Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Jeremy Grant, a game-time decision after leaving last night with an ankle injury. Matisse Thybulle, also a game-time decision. The Blazers are 18-29, the 7th worst record in the league. Hawks forward Jalen Johnson, will have season-ending shoulder surgery to repair a torn labrum. Suffered last Thursday against the Raptors. In his 4th season, Johnson averaging career highs of 18.9 points, 10 rebounds, which also leads the team, and 5 assists. Lakers big Anthony Davis, he's going to miss at least a week after suffering an abdominal strain in the first quarter of last night's loss to the 76ers. And over in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy shifting his focus to the 2026 hiring cycle. He was in the running for the Saints job, but Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore now believed to be the lead candidate. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
All right, this one's your baby. So I'm going to let you drive.
Baby. All right. This was wild to me. I saw this, and I think we need to come to a resolution on it. There was a photo on the internet, and it said, "Put these four in a cage. Who's coming out alive?" It had a majestic lion, mane waving in the in the air, a silverback gorilla, a grizzly bear, and a very large snake. Very large snake.
Let's go with anaconda.
Anaconda? Boa? I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's probably an anaconda.
Pick your dangerous, very large snake.
And it don't want none unless you got buns, hon.
That's right. Those four, the answers that came out of this were surprising to me. I told you guys to gather your thoughts on this. I would love to hear people's thoughts on the Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Because it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to me. So, lion, silverback, grizzly, anaconda. We can go power rank 4 through 1. Okay? Who's dying first? Who's coming out of that thing? Who are the last two standing? All right? Or you can just give me your champion. All right? But I was floored at some of the responses. I would like you guys to go first, and then I will share what the people said.
I did some research on this.
Okay.
And do you know what the first thing I Googled as it pertains to this?
I don't want to know any of your Google history because I feel like it may send me to jail as well.
Well, come on. That stays under the incognito tab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show research.
Okay.
Incognito tab, which definitely can't be searched at all. They definitely don't have records of that. I was like, you know what? Lion's a deadly animal.
Okay.
Grizzly bear, deadly animal. Massive. Anaconda, of course, it don't want none, but also it's been known to take down some very large prey.
Very large.
Considering the Amazon, it has taken down some of the biggest stinking alligators in existence.
And what? John Voight and Ice Cube?
There you go. Yes. But the first thing
that movie sucked.
It did.
It was awful.
But it was also Jennifer Lopez.
But you're right.
It was peak Jennifer Lopez, which we were all in for. Do silverback gorillas have opposable thumbs?
Yeah.
The answer was yes. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I was like, I think they're one of the ones that do, right?
Yeah.
And I went from there.
Yes,
I went, okay. Then I Googled how much
Well,
can
isn't that a feature of like just basically primates in general?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking like they also have opposable toes, like the function of the grip.
Gotcha.
And the reason I wanted to know this is, do you know how much a silverback gorilla can lift?
No, I don't.
I'm going to go somewhere between 100 and 800 pounds.
I'm going to say closer to the 800.
Double it.
1,600 pounds.
1,763 pounds is the record lift. I guess they're out there like, crossfitting silverback gorillas. And I was like,
well, as one does.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
The silverback combine.
Yeah, exactly. And as I started going down this, I just kind of went like the pounds per square inch, opposable thumb, just pure unadulterated rage. Also, giant canines on the top and bottom.
Okay.
Silverback is rising above all, and I don't, and tough hide.
Okay.
I'm going silverback.
All right.
It took me a second, but not terribly long.
Yeah.
I too went with the silverback for the strength, the agility, and also the opposable thumbs, I think is a big one. And yeah, sheer strength, agility, quickness.
Okay, so
Power.
now wait a minute here.
2,700 pounds of force also in a silverback gorilla's punch.
Okay.
2,700 pounds.
Okay. All right. Size of a silverback gorilla?
450 pounds.
450 pounds. Okay. I see you guys are on the a lot of the comments were saying the silverback gorilla. I think it's the grizzly bear, and I don't even think that it is particularly close. You have opposable thumbs, but what are you going to use those thumbs for? There's no weapon.
No. To grab on and crush.
To grab on and crush.
Yeah.
Right. The bite force of a grizzly bear, 1,000 pounds per square inch. Okay. You have an animal that is 1,300 pounds. That's 3 of them. They're gorillas. Okay. Claws and teeth. Okay. Can stand up. Whop, whop, whop. claw you, okay, scratch away at you, and it is an absolutely unit of an animal.
See, that was one of the things where I did start to why it wasn't a completely easy decision for me was because of the claws and whatnot on both the grizzly and the lion.
Grizzly bears can easily lift and carry over 1,100 pounds.
See, this is where we started the show talking about like UFC.
Yeah.
If the gorilla gets the gorilla gets back control.
Yeah.
Because if it gets that, you wonder where the opposable thumbs come in. He gets on the grizzly bear's back.
Yeah.
Gets for the neck.
Mm-hmm.
It's over.
Yeah, you look out for that figure 4 leg lock.
Yeah. I really feel it. This fight may determine who goes after who first.
Yeah.
Snake, you're out. Done. Sorry. I mean, you got too many things that are going to be fighting in there.
Because if let's say it wraps around the lion, you know what's going to happen? Either the bear or the gorilla is going to look at that and go, "We'll let it choke it out a little bit, weaken the lion, and then I'll bite its head off while it's trying to crush it."
Well,
see, and I feel like if the snake, if it goes after gorilla or bear, done. Yeah. Game over.
It's just going to bite. And you're
immediately
you're
over.
Well, but in a snake that size, what kind of speed and agility does it have? Like, how quickly can it strike?
Yeah. Good question there. I think I was bear, and it's not even close. You guys bring up some good points. You guys do bring up some good points.
The lion feels like it's getting disrespected here.
It is, but it showed a male lion. They don't even hunt.
No, it's got to be the female.
Yeah. Yeah, they showed Mufasa.
Yeah.
No.
It's
What's
got
it?
Isn't it like
Nyla?
Nyla?
I don't know. I was going to say
Nala.
Nala. There we go.
Yep.
God, I'm sorry. I don't have
There
kids.
we go. See?
I had to think about Timon, Pumbaa, Nala.
I'm going. I still. Yeah, the lion. Sorry, lion. You're out. This comes down to gorilla and bear.
It's weight classes.
I'm still bear. I'm still.
This is super heavyweight. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. With the 1,300 pounds, or what do you say, 1,300 pound grizzly?
Yeah.
Versus what we say,
and also thick hide.
How much weight on the silverback?
450.
450.
Yes, I mean we're
no claws.
That's 3 times the weight. So that's not a heavyweight fight. That's the Big Show versus Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
but I mean we're still the push here is that the silverback has almost the same bite force and actually does have more strength.
All that being said, I'm still riding with the silverback.
You're going gorillas.
Yeah.
Look,
see,
it was down to grizzly
bear.
and silverback for me, but again, I went with maybe if you're talking about the most likely outcome, I think it's grizzly. But we're talking about a cage here. We're talking about bars.
Yeah. But yeah.
So Mr. Silverback might be able to get on top of them,
climb up there, King Kong it,
just drop down on him.
That's a good point.
Come from the top, little
old leg drop off the top rope.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Ooh, look at Snake plays dead. Lets the other 3 go after each other. Takes on the winner 1-on-1. Might have a shot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And there is a snake that does play dead.
I think it's it's
a weird thing.
I think it's also the question of how quickly can that large reptile strike.
I don't know.
Because if it's just a slow mover and just trying to squeeze the life out of you.
I feel like we would have in this the lion and the gorilla going after each other first, because the bear would be like, "You kind of look like a fish. I'll eat you, snake." And then from there, we kind of parse through it. I think whoever gets the lion in the first draw, whether it's the bear or gorilla, they're going to get worn down a little bit. You're going to get worn down by that. So I don't know.
We're putting all 4 in the cage at the same time, right? We're not doing like cards.
No, we're not.
Not taking a draw.
It's a Royal Rumble.
It's a Royal Rumble. Hey, it's Royal Rumble week in WWE.
Yeah, see, nobody caught all these wrestling references I've been doing this whole damn season.
No, I think it's been good.
All right.
I think it's been good.
Ooh, Vancouver Ford text line. Lion for sure. The agility and hunting instinct. Well, again, the hunting instinct goes to the female.
Yeah.
Look, I think I'm going to make a call here. We're swapping out the male for the female.
Okay. Sure.
Does that change anything?
No.
You sexist a-holes. Why is it we're assuming that all of them are males and not females?
Because they had a mane.
That's right. The one in the picture had a mane.
Well, I don't know, but
which would
that
be
was
male.
the lion.
Yeah.
Just the lion. That could have been a lady gorilla.
Now, mama grizzly bear, and you put like a little baby grizzly in the corner.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
And again, the Vancouver Ford text line, another lion supporter says, lion gets on the back and they're done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got them big claws. That's what they do. I mean, in a pack, they can take down elephants.
Sure.
Yeah, get the lion on his back. He's going to be taken down by some belly rubs.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
yeah, Jake the Snake would drop all three with his DDT. That it might be true. That might be true.
we might have to carry this on another day. Just
I can't. I still think it's grizzly.
Still
think it's grizzly.
You know.
Have we Googled who wins in a fight, grizzly bear or silverback gorilla?
I have. It says grizzly bear is the most likely outcome.
Oh.
But it was a...
Dude, who wins, gorilla or bear?
Yeah.
First Google and who wins pops up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
It happens.
Mm.
All right. We'll wrap up today's show with a nice little fun soundbite from Denny Avdia last night. I think it's just... it's on a Wrestling Wednesday we got to get to. Danny Dusty, Danny Fan. Wrap up today's show. Denny Avdia in the postgame last night highlighted why he started doing the John Cena "You Can't See Me" following and ones.
You know, John Cena was my favorite wrestler when I grew up. So, you know, when I score an and one, I kind of thought about his theme song and I wanted to play it in the arena. So it's kind of my new celebration after and ones. So every time I'm scoring and one, you can hear the John Cena theme song. So
you told him to start playing that track?
Yeah, I did. It was kind of my idea just to bring some energy and fun for the team. You know what I'm saying? And now you see everybody on the bench doing that. So, you know, it's some small that I can implement into the teams and make us happier and the chemistry.
I don't think it's this one.
It's not this one.
It's not this one. It's this other one.
do.
Yeah, it's the newer one. That's Thugonomics there. That's the John Cena rapping. That was before he went this one. Yes. This is, I love that. That is a good little energy pop for an and one.
It also shows you Denny Alvey is still just a kid.
Yep.
And he does the whole "you can't see me" to the whole bench. The whole bench does it back. It's like we were talking off air when we had Shawne Merriman on about bringing back sack dances. I like having a little,
I
a
like
little
it.
something.
Have a little something to it. Yeah. Throw a little swagger into it. That's great. You know, last night the Blazers won a game, which I know is
it's okay.
upsetting to a lot of people. That was a good basketball game. It was a fun game. And we don't have to all be this miserable at all times. All right?
It's the simple things.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, I'm glad that we have our young John Cena and Denny Advia playing for the Portland Trailblazers. That'll do it for us today. Boy, what a day. If you missed any of it, go check it out in the audio vault. Rust is going to podcast this thing right away. You can go back, watch it on the YouTube stream as well, youtube.com/1080am The Fan. We had Shawne Merriman on. Lights out. He was a good interview. Yeah. I wasn't sure what we were going to get from Shawne Merriman.
Well, because he looked like a maniacal meathead when he played football?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you never know.
No.
You never know. He did give us Xavier Worthy as his potential Super Bowl MVP.
33-1, baby.
I got to talk to Jimmy Shapiro.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
That
did.
was
Oh,
cool.
you did. You got to talk to Jimmy. Jimmy's a great dude.
Great dude.
He's an awesome guy.
We love him and forever indebted to him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that'll do it for us today. Up next, you got 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. It's prime time. We got Ortner, Buck, and Souk edition yet again. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. We'll see you Thursday from noon to 3 right here on The Fan.
Bye. Just trying to make you happy and get it in there.
I'll get it in.
It's very rude and it's very nasty.
If you're considering new construction and want it done right and fast by a team that's focused on innovation, collaboration, and creativity, you want Mods PDX. At Mods PDX, we craft beautiful, sustainable, energy-efficient buildings of the highest quality. Our modular approach means your project